excited.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ-HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
A snowy Tuesday edition of the Sports Bash starts right now. This is 97.3 ESPN. I'm your host, Mike Gill. That's Hunter Brody. Josh Hennings producing today's show. And you out there, we think, I don't know, people might not be driving out and about today. Today's a little worse than yesterday, but I understand where we are, it's not that bad. Where you are, Brodes, you are snowed in today.
Yes, I am. This is insane. You know, I heard snowstorm. Guess what? I heard snowstorm the last 20 times they called for one, so I wasn't really believing them. Shame on me. I woke up this morning. I was like, damn, I think I shoveled my pathway 6 times already this morning.
Yeah, well, nothing like that quite down here. 6 times you've been out shoveling? Did the dog poop on the guy next to his lawn while he was at it?
No, he was in the backyard doing that. But I will say I had a predicament this morning. I went full T-shirt and sweatpants. I look outside, all my neighbors, full jacket, ski mask, gloves. They're probably like, who's this guy? I went short sleeves.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's the right way to do it.
You go outside short sleeve with the shovel?
Yeah.
Now, do you have a shovel or snow blower?
I went shovel, and I actually just picked it up at Home Depot this weekend, so I had to, anticipate this.
Funny, I was at the Home Depot the other day myself, and I saw the snow blowers out there, and I said to myself, who the hell would invest money in buying a snow blower? Like, you use it, once every 5 years? Is it really worth the investment that the one time it snows, you might have to actually do a little extra work instead of spending the ridiculous amount of money they charge you for a snowblower in an area of the country that gets no snow?
I love that you said that. So I texted Moshe because he lives around me, and I was just curious, like, how many inches did he get, or what's it look like there? He said, I'm finally going to get to use my new snowblower I got 3 years ago.
Come on, that I got 3 years ago. See? Come on, Moshe, you're better than that.
I agree. You got to go shovel. Nice and easy. It's not worth the money for the snowblower.
No, like, they sucked you in. You were the guy they said, let's find this sucker. Who can we get to buy a snowblower that lives in a region that gets no snow? I love it, too. They had them all lined up pretty and perfectly. Like, this was the best spot, right on the floor. Boom. Get your snow blowers. As soon as they had snow in the forecast, they put them all out there. And it was like, all right, I just want to stand here all day and see what suckers they can get to buy the snow blower.
Not me. I went good old-fashioned shovel, and I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. When I'm done the show, I got to go now get the cars out of the driveway because we're kind of stuck in there. We got to get these cars out for tomorrow. So nonstop for me.
Well, you do use shovel.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, it's like I feel like I've been shoveling all day long.
Well, that one day that it does snow and you get it, like if you live a little north of here or even further than you, I mean, I understand like Allentown, PA got hit pretty good.
Yeah, I'm hearing close to like 20-something inches from my knowledge up there, so it's crazy. Now, I didn't get anything like that, but I love it, though. I'm such a snowsman. I enjoy this. It just puts a different joy on my face knowing it's snowing out there. I'm looking out the window right now from the basement studio I have, and it's nice.
I'm out on the snow. I don't need any snow in my life. I'm quite okay with no snow. Paul is watching on Facebook. He said the snowblower is good for Michigan, Wyoming, not South Jersey. Yeah, Paul is on board. You know, there's a couple other places. Like when I was in Minnesota, it would have been this time when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. I was in Minnesota for that. That was the coldest place on earth.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's a good place for it. I lived in Vermont for a couple years, another fantastic thing. But the difference there is there's nonstop 24/7 people plowing the streets and plowing the roads. And in terms of your driveway, yeah, you got to do that. But when you're accustomed to having 12, 14 inches every day, it's like just another day in the life.
But that's when you need a snowblower. When you live in those places that it's every single day, that's worth the investment.
I would agree with you.
Having a leaf blower is worth the investment because the leaves constantly fall and you have to always pick them up. Like that is something that I'm not going to say, why would you spend money on a leaf blower? Because the leaves always fall. You have to get them off the lawn. Or you don't. I don't know why people make such a big deal out of having leaves on their lawn. Like, who cares, right? Do you care that leaves are actually on your grass as opposed to grass being on your grass?
Now, you're speaking to someone who out front of their new home has 2 big trees where this fall we were like, wow, we are the only ones in the neighborhood just covered with leaves. So we went out and bought the leaf blower. So you're essentially just going right down the road of what I had to deal with. I personally didn't care. The fiance cared. So therefore we got the leaf blower.
Oh, yeah. Like, so we actually have like the landscaping company, but he was taking so long to come and do it that I just see. So when I was in college, right, my first week of college, I'm at West Virginia. The guy who lived next door to me is this, like, he kind of looked like you. He's got the ski hat on, the long hair. He's got this long beard. Now, you don't have the long beard, but, you know, you're trying. Good work out of you. So he knocks on my door, and I open the door, and he kind of puts the hair behind his ear, and he's like, hey, man, you happen to have a beard comb? And I'm like, what? A beard comb is what he asked for.
I'm almost lost for words. In what world would this guy be asking for that?
I'm like 17. I'm 18 years old. I got no beard. Do I have a beard comb? No, I don't have a beard comb. But ever since that moment, I said to myself, there is no question that you could ask your neighbor that's out of bounds of something that he might have. So my next door neighbor is that guy. He's got everything. Like, literally, I could say, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? And he'd be like, sure do. Like, you know, we got my girlfriend's son, you know, he got a soccer ball for Christmas. Well, I was like, hey, do you have a soccer net at your house? He's like, sure do. Hey, do you have a leaf blower over there? Sure do. Hey, do you have a hedger? Sure do. You know, so now my garage has his leaf blower, his hedger, his soccer net. Like, all this stuff is piling up in my house. But the leaf blower, I had to use it because the landscaping place that I use said they were going to come and they didn't show up. And I just finally said, I was tired of her saying, hey, these guys not coming to get the leaves. So I did it myself one day. You know, that's a pain in the ass job.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, now I'm realizing firsthand that this whole homeowner stuff, there's a lot more to it than you think. I'm out there doing everything. Every Saturday when my day's off, I want to relax, put the feet up. Oh, no. I got to start doing everything. It's a nightmare, but yeah, it's part of life.
I feel no extra satisfaction, though, that the leaves are not there any longer. Like, I don't look outside and it's like, that is such a better feeling. Like, I could care less that those leaves are there.
Right. You don't appreciate it because there's nothing to really appreciate. You don't sit back afterwards, have a nice cup of coffee, and admire what you just did.
Nope. Sit on the porch on the rocking chair like, look at that. A freshly cleaned off lawn. Now, my buddy said he just bought the leaf blower that actually mulches the leaves up.
Oh, well, that changes. Does that change how we feel?
It's not a leaf blower. It sucks the leaves up and then shreds them into a bag.
Huh. Now, that is different. I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff and you want to do it, that's the move you got to make.
Right. That's the way you go. You can't, like the snow blower, though, you're just blowing the snow into some other area. Might as well just wait for it to dissipate.
Yeah, we'll have to rip Moshe apart the next time he's on to question his decision making.
Yeah, I can't condone anybody. Well, I mean, like, you're in that area, you have more snow than we do, but it still only happens once.
Yeah, this isn't even snow blowing type of. I mean, maybe it is, but come on, suck it up and get shoveling.
Yeah, like Lee James is watching on Facebook. He says, I bet Brodes had a cup of Joseph and goosebumps when he saw the snow.
That's right. I actually sent you a text message with my coffee with the scene in the background and said, the Joe just tastes better when you know there's some flurries out there.
Yeah, well, you know, I sat outside on the porch today.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Had a little atmosphere, if you will.
Did you mix your coffees together? I know you're big into that now.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Strange.
I did. Now, one of the listeners recommended the Komodo Dragon, which I still have. I got the Komodo Dragon and a little Kona vanilla macadamia nut.
I don't know if I'm big into the whole mixing thing. You might have to sway me to try it because a lot of the things you're like, oh, try the low-cal IPA. Loved it. Try this. I love it. But the coffee mixing, you might have to convince me a little bit more before I really go down that road.
I like this text message. Mosher got, and they probably sold him snow tires, too.
That's hilarious.
This guy says, if you allow the leaves to stay on your grass too long, it kills the grass.
Well, it looks like I might have to make a decision for the next fall.
What, whether or not you want your grass?
Well, I can't be the guy with the ugly grass. That wouldn't be good. First, I'm going to let my dog poop on everyone else's lawn, and then my lawn is going to look bad. I can't have that.
Okay, well, that guy makes a good point then. If you don't want dead grass, get the leaves off the grass. All right, so Will Kelly says, any Philadelphia Eagles news? No, Will Kelly. They did hire a linebacker coach, if you consider that news. But there is something that I wanted to discuss to kind of open up this show today, which was not snowblowing. But I was doing a little research for the show, and Bucky Brooks does his mock draft at NFL.com. I was reading a little NFL.com this morning and saw his mock draft from the other day. If I told you on draft night, the Philadelphia Eagles select a tight end with the 6th overall pick in the draft, how would you react the following day?
I probably wouldn't understand it just based off of a conversation that we've kind of been going back and forth on over the last couple of weeks or so, last couple of days. When you look at the holes on this team, while we've been hearing that he likes 12 personnel, although we've also been hearing that maybe that was a little bit of a reach, there's so many other holes, whether it's outside cornerback opposite of Darius Slay or other areas, that I think are more important right now. Even if you lose Zach Ertz and you have Dallas Goedert, I think you can find that second-level tight end to play next to him for 12 personnel sets. You saw Richard Rodgers fill that role, and I know that there's a difference between him and a stud tight end, but my point is I think just like with the offensive line, you'd have enough to hold you over where you can fill other holes first. So I don't think I'd be all in love with it, to be honest with you. How about yourself?
I don't mind the concept, but it's almost like that is a luxury pick for a team that can't afford a luxury. You know? Like that's like basically saying, I'm going to let my kids go hungry because I feel like taking myself out to get a steak dinner. And I'm just going to neglect my children. They're not going to eat this week because all the capital that I have, I'm putting towards the biggest steak dinner for me. I can't do that. Pitts is the pick that he has. Kyle Pitts is the tight end out of Florida. Now, the dude is a beast mode. I mean, when you look at the tape and you watch him play, he's a man among boys in the SEC, and that's saying something. He dominated this year. You can't guard him. He's 6'6", 250 pounds playing tight end. Who's defending him? You can't defend him with a slot corner. They're too small. He's way more athletic and bigger and stronger than a lot of these linebackers and corners. So he's just a matchup nightmare for you. And I guess the concept is, look, he wants to play 12 personnel. I did the research last night. The Eagles' leading receiver during the Peterson era has been a tight end every year except for this year, and Goddard missed being the leading receiver this year by 16 yards. Now, mind you, he missed a bunch of games because he was injured. It shows you how important the tight end has been over the Wentz era is really what I should say. Wentz likes the tight end. That's evident. His leading receiver has been either Wentz or Goddard every single year, and in 2019, they were the top 2 receivers on the team. Wentz and Goddard. So if Ertz and Goddard. So if Ertz is going to go, you got to replace him. But do you replace him at number 6?
Another thing to factor in, if their mentality is let's fix him, let's fix the quarterback, are you surrounding him with, as you alluded to, he loves the tight end position. So are you getting players, I'm just saying from their mentality, if I'm putting myself in Howie Roseman's shoes, Jeffrey Lurie's shoes, Nick Sirianni's shoes, if we're discussing what we want to do at 6 and your game plan is let's fix Carson Wentz, is this something that they value as, hold on, if we want to make this guy as comfortable as possible, let's surround him with positions that he feels comfortable with? And I'm not saying that's right. I don't personally believe it. I'm trying to put myself in their mind. They probably do raise that question to themselves.
I get the concept of we want to make Wentz the most comfortable. How do we do that? Well, if Ertz is going out the door, and let's just assume for this conversation, if you're considering taking a tight end at number 6, it's because Zach Ertz is not here anymore, correct? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
So if he's gone, we have to replace him is taking a tight end, maximizing Wentz more than it is helping the whole team.
I still think it helps the team, but it just depends on what you're missing out on that can, where it, let's say, just to use numbers 1 through 10, 10 being the best way it can help your team. If getting an Alabama outside corner improves your team by 8, maybe going out and getting the tight end only improves your team by 5, where it's still helping your team out, but you're missing, you can get more out of it. Let me throw this at you. They hired a quarterback coach from Florida. Do you think that has any sort of, conversation behind closed doors where Brian Johnson, who they feel very highly of, is like, this kid is a stud? I wonder if there's any impact with him speaking to the guys, but his voice, I'm sure, isn't as loud as that.
I didn't even factor that into the equation. I'm sure Brian Johnson said, look, dude, this guy, Kyle Pitts, he's the real deal. And when I say the real deal, guys, I mean, his numbers this year, he only played 8 games. He had 43 catches, 770 yards. He had 12 touchdowns in 8 games this year. Unguardable he was. 6'6", 250 pounds. Guys can run, athletic. I mean, if you told me I have pick number 21 like I did last year and he was there, that would excite me. I just don't know that I can be all that excited at number 6. The question is that pick maximizing Wentz more than it is helping the team? And is that more important? And Brian Johnson could be like, dude, I'm telling you, this guy can help Carson Wentz. He can make him be more comfortable. He can, I don't know. I mean, when I read that in the mock draft today, I'm thinking to myself, why the hell would they take a tight end at number 6? And then the more I thought about it, I'm not advocating it. I'm not saying I want them to take a tight end at number 6. But I'm intrigued by the possibility of, hey, would that make Wentz a better player?
And I think it will, but I think it does both. I think it helps the team, and I think it helps Carson Wentz. So maybe they look at it from, look, you can get 2 positives here. And do you agree with me that maybe if we're using a number system, if you get an outside cornerback at 6, maybe it helps your team at like an 8, but getting this tight end could be more like a 5 or 6, where it still helps your team grow, but maybe you're just not making the most of that opportunity where you're leaving some on the table, if you will.
I look, if you told me Ertz walked out the door and you had to replace him with Pitts, you upgrade, you had to, it's not like you made a mistake, but I just think you have so many other areas. I mean, the question is Dallas, do they not view Dallas Goedert as a replacement for Ertz? Do they just view Goddard as Goddard and that they need an upgrade over Goddard and keep Goddard, you know what I'm saying, like in his secondary role?
I think it would be the other way around. I think they would see Dallas Goedert jump into that Ertz role, and then you're trying to get a solid Dallas Goedert role in whatever you select at tight end. In this case, it would be Pitts, and maybe Pitts eventually grows into something better than Dallas Goedert, although we've all been saying that Goddard is way more athletic. He's got a different skill set to him that might be even better than Zach Ertz if he was to get those carries or those receptions, I should say, or those targets. But I think they view Dallas Goedert as the one, and they would just be looking for a powerful duo that other teams can't stop. I don't know if they would maybe they wouldn't label them at all.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I think most people would look at Kyle Pitts as and as Anthony, who's watching on YouTube, post up on there like a Darren Waller. He's like a hybrid between a tight end and a wide receiver. He's one of those guys that is just a big athletic guy, kind of played the tight end role, but they split him out wide there. They used him in a lot of different scenarios. Are you looking at a guy? Because I think about it in this manner, and there's 2 things about this Super Bowl, and Ike Taylor, the former Steelers cornerback, is going to join us. I want to ask him about, hey, these guys, how difficult they are to defend. But there's 2 things about this Super Bowl that kind of stand out to me when I saw that. One team's got, Gronk, Cameron Brate, and they had O.J. Howard. He got hurt, but they had 3 tight ends that were all in play. The other team has Travis Kelce, the best tight end in football. How important is that position?
Oh, there's no doubt it's important. And it's almost like when you first originally asked me, I was like, I'd be a little disappointed. It's almost like I'm somewhat convincing myself 7 minutes into this conversation that, would it be that bad of an idea? Like now my brain's starting to turn a little bit with Carson Wentz and with this team in general. Not saying that, I want it that badly, but I think I'm starting to see more pros as I'm thinking about it in my brain. Like it wouldn't be an absolute disaster. But yeah, I think it's evident that it's important though, that position.
I would like the pick if they didn't have so many, I say so many other things. I think they need to take a corner. I would take, okay, put it this way. If they're going to take a receiver, why not just take a tight end?
Right. So if you see it as, if your philosophy with this team, if you're Howie, is Devontae Smith, Chase, Weddle, then there's no reason not to have Pitts in the conversation with the 4, and then based off of how you rank them, then go ahead and take that. I can get behind that for sure.
If you said, hey, I'm all about taking Jamar Chase, I'm all about taking Smith, I'm all about taking Weddle, well, why wouldn't you throw Pitts into that conversation? If you're saying he's the best tight end, he's the best weapon, and you're okay with taking a wide receiver, why wouldn't you just say, then why can't I consider a tight end?
Right. I think that's fair. I guess it just depends on what you're looking for, right? If you think this wide receiving core doesn't have enough speed and Deshaun's going to be gone and you need that threat and maybe Jalen Reagor isn't that full-on guy and Devontae Smith can be, well, then that's when they would have to pick and choose internally. Okay, what's more important? Do we need that speed guy? Do we just need an all-around fantastic talent to help out Wentz at a position that he's comfortable with? Then it comes down to their board and what they value most. But he should be in the mix if you're thinking of a playmaker offensively.
I definitely am not advocating it, but I definitely can say, if they ended up there on the night of the draft, you would probably be a little disappointed because, again, I advocate taking Patrick Surtain. That would be the guy I would take right now over one of the wide receivers. In fact, I would almost rank my picks as Patrick Surtain, Micah Parsons would be probably my second option. And if I have a third guy, that would be, who would be the third guy? To me, they have to find a defensive impact player. That's, to me, number 6. They need a defensive impact player.
Well, realistically, it would probably be Surtain or Parsons, right? Aren't those the 2 most realistic guys that stand out at that spot?
Yeah, because you need of the position, linebacker's a tough spot because I don't know that they're going to take a linebacker there. But if they do, and there's a whole new bunch of guys in here now. Who knows? The coaching staff, they're very young. By the way, that's the second point. Andy Reid, Bruce Arians, Sean Payton. These guys are like old veteran coaches. They're still winning out here. And the Eagles, I was reading today, they just hired another coach, 29 years old. This whole staff is a bunch of young guys. And these old guys are saying, watch us in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the youth is, I'm not going to say insanely concerning, but it is a question mark I have entering the season. But we always go back to this. These 39-year-olds, they have 10 years of NFL experience because now they start their coaching at age 28, 29 years old. So when you get them as head coaches, well, they've been around the game for 10 years. Not saying that automatically means it's going to be successful, but their track record shows that, look, I've worked up the ranks. Look at Sirianni's growth, from Kansas City to LA to Indianapolis. He has paid his dues. Now, that doesn't mean automatic success, but, these younger guys have had a tenure in this league.
All right, we got plenty of ways to get in touch with us. 609-403-0973 on the text board. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Of course, if you're watching the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter through our website, 973ESPN.com, you can always be a part of the live stream. Sal C. scares me to death. He says, Rich Kotite for the Jets. He drafted Kyle Brady when they already had Johnny Mitchell in the 95 draft. Yeah, I do remember that. But the game was so different then. Rich Kotite, was he ahead of the game? Was he ahead of his time, kicking 2 tight ends and trying to implore that in 1995?
Right. Yeah. I wonder if he was foreseeing the future and seeing all this go down. I really doubt that was the case.
I think he was.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think Rich Kotite was a visionary.
Oh, nice.
Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, coming up In about 6 minutes from now, we will talk to Super Bowl two-time, Super Bowl champion Ike Taylor is going to join us about his Super Bowl experience. Plus, we'll ask him. He played with Big Ben Roethlisberger. Should Big Ben Roethlisberger be back for another year? You might be surprised by his answer. Stick around for that. It's coming up next. Brought to you by AmeriSave Mortgage. Lower mortgage rates means more savings. Find out more at AmeriSave.com. We're just getting started. The Sports Bash. Ike Swaggy Taylor is on the other side. Don't go away. Right here. Super Bowl week for your home. On your home of Super Bowl 55. 97.3 ESPN.
Off-season.
By no means are we a finished product.
What off-season? It's football at 4. Every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Blatt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. But Matt Blatt Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township. Or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Negative equity will be refinanced if the new vehicle. Get all the details at mattblattnissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
This message is brought to you by the Egg Harbor Independent Branch Leader at Charles Schwab and Consumer Square Shopping Center. In these uncertain times, no matter what tomorrow holds, Schwab remains invested in investors, in optimism, in guidance, in service, in your tomorrow. So whatever happens today, Schwab remains invested in your tomorrow. Call the Egg Harbor Independent Branch at 609-910-4807 or learn more at schwab.com/Egg Harbor on how Schwab is ready to help.
Guys, breakfast.
How do you do it?
The kids or everything else?
Hey, are those
new phones? Got 2 truly unlimited lines from Walmart Family Mobile. Tea's ready. With no contract. Pass the toast. Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead.
You are amazing.
And your boss is calling. Get 2 truly unlimited lines with 30 gigabyte hotspot per line for under $75 a month. Powered by T-Mobile. Walmart Family Mobile. Stay a step ahead. HD video streaming up to 720p. See terms and conditions at myfamilymobile.com. Available at Walmart.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. But maybe you're unaware of new tools that can help your business stand out. Go to getlocalcustomersnow.com for a free market competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too. There's no cost and no obligation. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Get started today. Visit getlocalcustomersnow.com. That's getlocalcustomersnow.com.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
Half man, half motorcycle. You never really stop riding in your mind. Never. Unless you're thinking of something else. Like other thoughts.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español?
Hablo.
It's hablo?
Yes.
It's hablo.
Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et du viens tu.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This season's hottest collection is dropping just in time for lunch. Meat Church's new all-white meat Texas tenders, accessorized with butterfly shrimp. Snag your Texas tenders and shrimp meal for just $5. Church's bringing that down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 973ESPN.com.
All right, welcome back. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. It's Mike and Brodes with you here on a snowy Tuesday. And, of course, the Super Bowl this Sunday. You can hear the action right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts at 3 o'clock. Flyers play at noon, and then after that we'll have Super Bowl coverage right here on 97.3 ESPN. And I tell you, Brodes, this one should be a very interesting, fun game. We're going to get into it with Ike Taylor in just a second here as he's going to join us on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, you have a great matchup between Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes for this Super Bowl. It's like you have the most, I know it's crazy to say because you have the most talented quarterback in Pat Mahomes versus the greatest and the most winning quarterback in Tom Brady, where one guy's so old, is he going to pass the torch or is this going to be a teaching moment? Like, I wonder if Tom Brady pulls this off. Not that this should be the difference in him continuing to play and thrive because he's in the Super Bowl at this age, but I wonder if he does win it. Will this just allow that window to continue to stay open? If he's winning it at this age, when do you ever stop?
I know it's going to be very interesting. And I know that going through, we got Ike Taylor on the line here, going through his career, you had the same thing. We're the same guys, Brady, Roethlisberger, Rodgers. They were constantly. And when you get that guy, it's such a difference maker. So let's bring him in. Two-time Super Bowl champion, Pittsburgh Steelers legend. He is the host of the Believe in Steelers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. It drops every Tuesday on all streaming services, and he joins us now here on the Sports Bash Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Ike, what's going on, man? How are you?
Mike, Hunter, how y'all boys doing?
We are good. We are getting ready for this Super Bowl, and of course, I know when two-time Super Bowl champion like yourself, you probably this week always brings back great memories for you, man. We just had Lofoot the Tupo on yesterday, and your team beat his team in that Detroit, and he told me how lousy Detroit was, but I bet you it wasn't so bad for you.
You goddamn right it wasn't. we had a blast. Jerome Bettis was going back home. We went by his mom. Now, picture this. Listen to this, fellas. Picture at least 50 guys going to your mom's house. She's preparing dinner for us. We chill, take a lease, and I'm talking about guys scattered everywhere. Either they on the floor, in the bed, in the kitchen, all from the itis. Itis meaning having so much good food in our stomach. Everybody passed out. So picture grown men passed out at your mom's crib. Picture how good your mom would have felt serving all these guys food, and they all passed out because the food was so good. Mama Bettis had to be in heaven at the time.
Hey, I'm a big man, so I can imagine be a part of all that food. One of your teammates on that team, Barrett Brooks, who does a lot of media, has told the stories of how you guys went out to try to make sure that you got Jerome Bettis back home for that Super Bowl.
Oh, man. I want to talk about an unselfish group of grown men. Okay, so it go like this here. It go 2005, Bussy wants to retire. The Super Bowl just so happened to be in Detroit where he's from. Okay, guys, whatever goal y'all have, one of these goals got to be Bussy getting a Super Bowl. Let's try to get Bussy a Super Bowl so he can retire in his own hometown, let alone put a Super Bowl on our resume, and that'll put Pittsburgh at 5. Okay, we're going to fast forward to 2010, the one we lost. We wind up getting, oh my gosh, who's the offensive lineman from Dallas? Flozell Adams. So we wind up getting Flozell Adams in 2010, right? We said, guys, let's do this for Flo. We're going back to Dallas for the Super Bowl. I know we got to play Green Bay, but let's get Flozell Adams a Super Bowl in Dallas. How good would that look? We came up short, but that was the mindset in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. Like we didn't care. We cared about each other. We didn't care about our own individual accolades. We cared about each other. Now, if you so happen just to ball out, your accolades and your resume just shot up. But at the same time, it was all about your teammate. It was never about you. So we actually tried to get Flozell Adams a Super Bowl 2010.
What is the focus level like during those 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl? Obviously, every game for the 16 regular season games, you're preparing and you go through the film and all. But, leading up to those 2 weeks, I would imagine that the determination and the way that everyone approaches these sessions and with the coaches and these meetings, it's just intensified by so much.
You can't script it. Practices for the Super Bowl is an AFC/NFC championship game. Practices for the Super Bowl is an AFC/NFC championship game. Practices leading up to the Super Bowl. Practices.
By the way, Allen Iverson is not on the phone line with us. It's Ike Taylor, not Allen Iverson. But that kind of highlights what the intensity is. But I want to ask you, Ike, because you mentioned Detroit and you got to go to Bettis's and how cool that was. How about this year, though? Not like Kansas City's practicing at home and Tampa's the home team, but, it seems like it's going to be such a weird atmosphere. There's only going to be 22,000 people there. Like that energy of going out there for the Super Bowl, it's got to be unmatched. But can you imagine how that will feel with a half a stadium?
Nah, because them guys didn't adjust. Them guys, meaning the players, didn't adjust and got used to it. They at first they got used to nobody really being in the stands. So depending on when you play, what state you play in, the capacity of that. Like, so it's nothing new to the guys. One thing you got to understand about professional sports, them guys been adjusting. It's hard for us in the everyday life to adjust. Just picture how you have to adjust as a professional athlete. Whether it's basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, people just have been adjusting to entertain. So they're adjusting to entertain, so we still have jobs.
Right.
Picture that. So sports adjusting. So we as analysis, we as media people still have some kind of job. Picture that.
And by the way, Ike Taylor is the host of the Believe in Steelers podcast. It's available every Tuesday on all streaming services.
What amazes you most watching Tom Brady continuing to do this at his age?
6th round draft pick. Fellas, I need an honest opinion. Think of all of the quarterbacks you like. What round they probably went in?
Not the 6th.
Just think about it.
Right.
Just think about it. All the quarterbacks you like, all the quarterbacks you want to argue with other people in 1st round, 2nd round draft, man, win the 6th round.
So this is like one of those stories. This is one of those stories that, like, when he's done, because he's gonna, he says he wants to keep on going, that we will not appreciate what we watched for a couple of years after he's done.
He's what you teach your kids on what should happen in life. Nothing ain't guaranteed. Life will be difficult. It's on you to make or break or decide how your life will be. And that's hard work, taking care of your body, work ethic, and not letting other people, regardless of what they say, decide what your life is about. Just think about what you tell your kids if you got a kid. Ain't nothing gonna be easy. Adversity gonna make you or break you. One or two.
Ike Taylor's with us.
For granted.
I love it, man. Great message. And I'd like you to tell your story. You said, hey, 6th round. You're a 4th round pick, but a 2-time Super Bowl champion. and I'm sure you have a pretty cool story on your journey to the NFL.
I walked on, played running back my junior year, moved over to cornerback my senior year. Got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 4th round. 12 years later, 2 Super Bowls. That's my story. I played running back my junior year, and I played cornerback my senior year.
So what was the reason you made the switch from running back to corner? How'd that go?
Coach Gary Bartell was, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you ever heard of a guy called Charles Peanut Tillman.
Sure.
Yeah, so he was on the other side of me. Hopefully he'll make it into the Hall of Fame. So Peanut went, 35th pick to Chicago, 2nd round, and I wound up going 4th round, 125th pick in the 4th round. But man, we had a good secondary. I was the shortest out the secondary, and I'm 6'2". So between safeties and corners, I was the shortest guy in the secondary.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was my story, bro. Walked on. I was a walk-on, so I walked on, running back my junior year. Coach Gary Bartell, and this is when Coach Ricky Bussell came from Virginia Tech, and he just got Vic drafted, or Vic went high. Just got Vic drafted. He was like, "Oh man, you're gonna play running back for me? For sure, I'll send you to the league." I said, "Nah, Coach, I'm playing corner." He was like, "Why?" I said, "I think I got a better shot of playing corner in the league." So we wound up doing that. Had a top 5 secondary we had a top 5 secondary in college football.
That's amazing. It really is. You mentioned with Tom Brady.
Nothing was never handed.
Yeah, no doubt. You mentioned with Tom Brady taking care of your body and how important that is for him. Well, there's a lot of 16 games next to your name when you look down the career. What did you do while playing to make sure that you were available?
So nobody would never outwork me. So there was no such thing as an off season for me. Tom Brady is more on another level as far as not drinking, not eating meat, being a vegetarian, avocado, ice cream, got a whole team. Like Tom Brady really treats his body like a temple, if you know what I'm saying. He's not putting nothing in his body to harm his body, to delay his body on what he's trying to reach. And that's obviously he's trying to get to 45 to play. After 45, I'm sure him and his family decide what he want to do at 46. But Tom Brady is doing everything he needs to do to at least give his body a chance. Mentally, he's there. But, the body can take a quick drop ASAP. So he's doing everything he needs to do to give his body a chance. Me, I didn't. I burnt both candles. I burned it at the top and the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So that's now 12 is a long time for the league. But if I would have took a Tom Brady approach, I probably would have did a Darryl Green all day.
By the way, Ike Taylor, 2-time Super Bowl champion. They beat Seattle, and then the second game was the game that you beat Kurt Warner and the Cardinals in that game, and you were kind of a focal point in that game. Late in that game, Fitzgerald had that catch. You were caked on him, and he makes that catch in the end zone, but you guys come back and win 27-23 in that game. And, of course, that's a game Ben Roethlisberger's the quarterback of that game. Where do you we're talking about Brady? What's Roethlisberger's future looking back at 39 years old? Do you think he still has time left in him, or are you watching? Are we watching the end of another era? Because it looks like Breeze and Rivers are done. What about Roethlisberger?
Excuse me. I think he should shut it down. I think being like Breeze for sure, is going to make it to the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
2-time Super Bowl champion. He won me that Tampa Super Bowl. Or won all of us that Tampa Super Bowl. That last ride was between Big Ben and Santonio Holmes. Them two connected like no other. on that last drive. And you saw the historic throw to Santonio Holmes in the back of the end zone in the corner. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I can tip my hat off to. Now, the 2005 Super Bowl, I wound up catching a pick in the 2005 Super Bowl. The defense was historical in that 2005 and that 2009 Super Bowl, if you know what I'm saying. But I think 7, man, I think it's time for 7 to go on, let it go. And the reason why I think so is because of the mobility part.
Yeah.
And the mobility part of 7 isn't how it used to be. You know, you want to talk about toughness, I don't think there is a tougher quarterback. From the injuries I've known 7 to play with, you know, 7 played with a linebacker injury, offensive lineman injury, a D lineman injury. 7 to play with some injuries. Like, you know, they just said Drew Brees had, you know, the punctured lung and the bruised ribs. I don't know how many times 7 had that. I don't know how many times he had that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't talked about. So I only think a few people can actually play and start and be a Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. He is the epitome of a Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. Between him and Terry Bradshaw, there's you're gonna come and go, is what I want to say. Now I think he should retire because if you look at the AFC North, and if you just look at the league in general, you got to be somewhat mobile. You have to be somewhat mobile, you know. So if 7 comes back, 7 got to understand, man. He got to do everything in his power to be more mobile than he was last year.
Right. Great
to
stuff.
At least give him and his team a chance.
Very good stuff, Ike Taylor, and 2-time Super Bowl champ. By the way, that second Super Bowl was in Tampa, which is a lot more fun than Detroit, I'm imagining. You guys probably had a good time down there. He's Ike Taylor. He's the host of the Believe in Steelers podcast. It's available every Tuesday on all streaming services. They give listeners an exclusive look inside the NFL and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Ike, we appreciate you taking out a couple minutes of your day, man. Appreciate you.
Mike Hunter, appreciate the invite, bro.
All right, Ike Taylor, everybody here. Great stories, great stuff. The Brady stuff, fantastic. And obviously, as he mentioned there at the end, very insightful about the whole Ben Roethlisberger thing because everybody's wondering, is Big Ben going to come back?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. He was pretty open about it, saying, hey, it's time to shut it down. You'd think that he'd be like, hey, keep going until you can't anymore. But I guess when you recognize, you see your fellow teammate out there going, he doesn't really have it like he used to. Maybe it's time.
College, 7 won me a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Sports Bash brought to you by Matt Blatt Kia. They want to get you approved today. That's Matt Blatt Kia, Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. That was Ike Taylor telling us Super Bowl stories. We'll have more this week for more Super Bowl champions, people who played in the Super Bowl, people who are connected to this Super Bowl, as we always do. Sal Paolantonio joins us in 12 minutes here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app, and watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Trust Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Homeowners, no need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Call Jenkins. One call does it all. Jenkins technicians are trained to do it all, so you only have to call one number, 609-641-6262. Jenkins & Sons has been on the job since 1949. For new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing, and drain cleaning services, one call does it all. Call 609-641-6262 or visit jenkinsandsons.com. That's 609-641-6262 or jenkinsandsons.com.
Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. We're always here for you. Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. We're always here for you. Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. We're always here for you.
The 55th big game is this weekend, and to celebrate football's finale, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is doubling your money. If a touchdown is scored in the big game. That's right. All it takes is for one touchdown to be scored Sunday night, and boom, your money is doubled. As if this game wasn't enough reason to party. With double the cash, you'll be celebrating till next season. And don't forget about DraftKings Big Game Prediction Challenge with up to $55 million in total prizes up for grabs and instant prizes for everyone who enters the contest. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code 973 to get a shot at doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in Sunday's game. That's code 973 to get a shot at doubling your money. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/prediction-challenge-DFS for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hello?
Hi, I'm calling on behalf of the mice nest.
Mice nest?
Yes, mice nest. It's a nest of mice. They finished chewing through your RV wiring, so the fire should start soon.
Can we cancel that?
Oh, sorry. Once scheduled, they can't really stop because they're mice. A nest of them.
RV owners can't schedule when things go wrong on the road. That's why there's Progressive, a leader in RV insurance.
Oh, and if you could stay on the line for a quick survey.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español?
Hablo.
It's hablo? It's hablo.
Bon dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et tu viens tu.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. BABBL.com.
Today on Hey Culligan, the best things in life are free. Water tests. Let's go to Candace.
Hey, Culligan, how do I learn more about my water?
Candace, let me just test the waters here.
Okay.
Literally test your water.
Oh.
For free.
Free?
Free, Candace. In-home water tests for free. So you know more about your water and how to make it better with Culligan water. And Candace.
Yeah?
We're already on the way.
Oh, good.
Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Mike and Brodes taking it till 6 o'clock tonight. Don't forget, coming up at 3 o'clock, Sal Paolantonio will join us in about 8 minutes live from Tampa with a report on Super Bowl 55. He is hanging out with the Patriots this week down there. We'll get some insight on this Patriots. What did I say? Patriots? He said with the Bucks, obviously. Yeah, he's not. Well, it's really the Patriots. He told us about that on Friday, how there's so many parallels, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's weird, though. It's still weird saying it. It doesn't feel right. Even seeing him in that uniform, it's kind of ridiculous. It just doesn't feel like it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah, I saw a picture of Sal Pal like earlier today, and he was interviewing Tom Brady, but Brady had a Patriots top on, and it just seems different that it's not, okay. On this topic real quick, because Sal's going to be on to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, and it's the Bucs, of course, and the Chiefs. Do we think the Chiefs, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will be – I don't think they'll be able to do it as long because Reid maybe. I don't know. Could Reid coach for another – how old did we say Reid was? He was in his 60s.
Yeah, about mid-60s.
Yeah, so he's not going to coach for like 20 more years, but could Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid for like the next 10 years be what the Patriots were?
Yes, and that's what's scary. Like, I don't think we'd be saying that about a lot of people. Like, even, for example, you take out Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, what's the next best in the league? They don't have a chance in hell. But it does seem realistic based off of how great Pat Mahomes is that we talk about how we will never see this again, and it's so iconic and it's historic. It's crazy to think so soon after Tom Brady, you might actually have the duo to do it. You take those two out, I don't think there's anyone in the league that you can make the argument can. It's crazy to think right after those two expand. I don't know. It's crazy.
if Deshaun Watson ends up in San Francisco, you could have that duo there.
They could be good, but if I don't view that as like a 10-year historic run. Reed and Mahomes, yes, but Watson. I was thinking, if Andy Reid had Aaron Rodgers, would I be saying the same thing? As much as I think that they would be good, I don't think that I could put them on the level of Mahomes and Tom Brady and that part.
You mean if Andy Reid had Aaron Rodgers now?
Yeah.
Like at this age?
Well, no, but let's say like 32.
So you're saying you think Mahomes is that much better than Rodgers?
Yeah, this is something amazing. Amazing.
All right, when we come back, Sal Pal with the latest on the Super Bowl. He'll give you all the insight, including, Andy Reid is down there for the second straight season. Bruce Arians making his debut as the head coach for the for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was in Arizona. Thanks to Ike Taylor as well for joining us here on the Sports Bash. Sal Pal's on the way. You guys out there, don't forget, watch the show live on our website, 973ESPN.com, and download the free mobile app. You can watch the show on your phone.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tomorrow night for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos. Number 3 St. Joseph against number 7 St. Augustine in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11 Wildwood Catholic in Ocean City from the Dixie Hal Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe, St. Augustine tomorrow, Wildwood Catholic Ocean City on Friday. Both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich is now in the 2 for $5, and that's reason to celebrate. Try the new classic and then take your mouth on a victory lap with the iconic Dave's Single, the delicious spicy chicken sandwich, spicy or crispy 10-piece nuggets, or just get another classic chicken sandwich. Taste greatness today with Wendy's 2 for $5. We got you.
For a limited time, a la carte only. Price and participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Blatt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Negative equity will be refinanced at the new vehicle. Get all the details at Matt Blatt. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Guys, waking up over and over to pee is not okay. But now, you can reduce those nighttime bathroom trips with the ingredients in Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced. We're talking about less urges to pee at night, less bathroom trips during the day, and better bladder emptying.
It's like taking 3 prostate supplements in one.
You can try a full 30-day bottle of P3 Advanced, free. Just cover shipping and handling, and a free bottle will be conveniently shipped to your door. No strings attached and no commitments to buy. Call 1-800-491-3436. Super Beta Prostate is the best-selling brand in major retailers like Walmart. But for this no strings attached free bottle, you must call now. Call 1-800-491-3436. Agents are standing by to take your call for this unprecedented free offer. Call 1-800-491-3436. 1-800-491-3436.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. But maybe you're unaware of new tools that can help your business stand out. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com. for a free market competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too. There's no cost and no obligation. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Get started today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person happens to come along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free. In fact, ZipRecruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the very first day. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Max. That's ZipRecruiter.com/MAX. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/straight talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
The radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey. WENJ, WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, 97.3 ESPN. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Going to join us on the Boardwalk Honda hotline here in just 1 second, live in Tampa with a report on Super Bowl 55. And that's ESPN Sal Paolantonio, who will join us here on the Boardwalk Honda hotline. And, of course, we're getting ready for Tampa Bay and Kansas City. You can hear the game live on 97.3 ESPN. So let's bring him in. He was dapperly dressed today down there in St. Petersburg, Florida. Had the nice hoodie on. You're looking very dapper there, Sal Pal.
Hey, thanks a lot. You know, try to change things up once in a while, Mike Gill. You know, even at the tender age of 64 years old.
I was going to say, very youthful look today with the hoodie there. You were looking very youthful with that look there. I liked it. It was a good look.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Sal Pal, you have covered all 10 of Tom Brady's Super Bowls for the mothership, and you say in the 10 Super Bowls you have covered of Tom Brady, you see a distinct pattern or arc to all of his appearances.
Yeah, there's a progression that he uses. So at the beginning of the week, he's very introspective. He'll talk legacy and history like he did yesterday, predicting that he could play to the age of 4 or 5 years old. And then today they had a walkthrough. They did 45 plays at the Bucs facility. And, you know, he really ratchets up his preparation. And then on Wednesday, he just brings the fire and the competitiveness. There'll be a lot of trash talking. I've heard a lot of players say in the past that, you know, he brings a lot of trash talking to that Wednesday practice. He'll challenge players. He'll hold them accountable. He'll make sure that, you know, they understand that he takes this deadly seriously. And he'll continue that, and they'll have some fast-paced practices on Wednesday and Thursday. And then he goes into sort of a mental, physical preparation with his trainer, Alex Guerrero, who's by his side the entire week. And then he'll go into what he calls a mindfulness mode. And I talked a lot about this with him. He has a book called The Four Agreements by a Mexican spiritualist. I've read it and studied it. He turned me on to it about 5 years ago. And he reads it and rereads it with his children and his wife. He's very serious about it. And, you know, one of the last agreements in the book, actually the last agreement in the book, is always do your best. Keep those distractions out of your life that will prevent you from having joy and accomplishment in your life. He takes this stuff really seriously. He preaches it to his teammates, to his coaches, anybody who will listen. And that's the progression of how he approaches the week.
It's crazy because here he is at 44 years old. And he acted this way when he was 25, 26, 20, like when he was a younger guy. Like, as you get older, you get wiser. You're saying that Tom Brady was like this when he was a young guy.
And it's gotten more intense. But, it definitely has been a progression that I have watched happen pretty much throughout all of his Super Bowls from the very beginning. Now, obviously, early on when he started his first Super Bowl against the Rams in 2002, when Belichick chose him over Drew Bledsoe, he didn't know what he was getting into. But his ability to, have that initial practice on Wednesday, and it was down in New Orleans. It was right after 9/11. I remember it well. And players, that first Super Bowl against the Rams, told me that Wednesday and Thursday, it was a completely different team because Bledsoe was not like that. Drew Bledsoe was never like that, never willfully vocal like that in practice. And Brady just showed that from the very beginning.
Sal, we just had Ike Taylor on from the Steelers and, won 2 Super Bowls, played in the third. He told us a tremendous story, and he said the practice week leading into the Super Bowl was like playing the AFC championship game every day. That's what the practices were like. That's how intense their practices were for Pittsburgh. Is it like that now? Like, can it be, or is it that intense? Is Tampa Bay and Kansas City, are they having these intense practices to get ready for this game?
Well, I can tell you flat out, and that's a great question, Mike. That's a very interesting story that Taylor told you. I can tell you flat out that Saturday's practice at One Buck Place was at super high speed. Arians told Brady that he wanted to go at a very fast pace. And Arians told me in a text on Sunday that the speed intensity was exactly what he was looking for. So why do they do speed intensity? Well, because, the Super Bowl, your body clock and your rhythms of your body are just going so hot that, you want to try to duplicate that during practice during the week. You have that long halftime, and they also practice that. So you'll go super hot in practice for 30 minutes, and then the coach will shut it down, put you in the locker room of your facility for the extra special long halftime. And then they want to duplicate the conditions of the game as much as possible.
Obviously, Brady has been here many times, but it's a first for Bruce Arians. So how is that dynamic? I mean, I guess Bruce had been here as an assistant in the past, but never as the main guy here. So, I'm interested in your what you've kind of taken from watching their practice, how much Bruce Arians is kind of taking this all in.
Right. So I'm shut down now, so I can't watch practice tomorrow. We have a pool reporter, Rick Stroud from the Tampa Tribune, will be the pool reporter for the NFC, and he'll be able to watch practice. But his pool report is vetted by the Bucs and the NFL, so we won't get all the information that we would normally have watching practice. But Arians and I have been close over the years, and I talked to him about Brady this year, and he's echoed to me some of the stuff that he has said to others, which is that Brady is a heck of a coach on the field. He's like having a field general in charge, and I got to tell you, when you look specifically at some of the things that have transpired just in the last 8 to 12 weeks of the season and the postseason, this team has evolved. How has it evolved? Well, I think Byron Leftwich has done a great job as offensive coordinator, dialing up heavy packages. The Bucs have had 6 offensive linemen on the field, more than any other team since Week 12. They've gone heavy to protect Brady, heavy to run the ball. In the postseason, they are now running the ball at a clip of 48%. That's up over 30. They were at 34% during the regular season. An interesting prop bet in this game is the over-under on the number of pass attempts for Brady. And the prop bet is 39.5. In the postseason, Brady has averaged only 36 pass attempts per game. That's the number he had in the NFC Championship game, just 36. And I think it'll be under the 39.5 because they're going to want to keep Mahomes off the field as much as possible. That was what they did with Breeze. That's what they did with Rodgers. I think they're going to run the ball. I think this game will be determined by the running game, by the pass protection, and by their ability to play defense against Patrick Mahomes more than it will be Tom Brady.
And a very interesting storyline in this game for people in this region who are kind of football geeks, Sal, is you got Andy Reid, obviously, the former Philadelphia Eagles, but Todd Bowles, which was, at the end there, was the defensive coordinator with Andy on the interim basis. He's going to have to figure out a way to shut down Andy's offense, and Bowles is on a roll right now.
And so was Andy. There's no question about it. Bowles has blitzed more than any defensive coordinator in this postseason that we're in right now. He's got the highest percentage. Spagnuolo is too. It's the reason why those two teams are in. I've told you, we talked about this for 2 straight weeks. It's a blitzathon in the postseason because the refs are not calling offensive holding. So the only way to get to the quarterback is to send extra bodies. Spagnuolo and Bowles figured that out. Mike Pettin in Green Bay did not. He did it in the second half. That's why Brady threw 3 picks. But in the first half, he let him throw the ball. So that's why Pettin's gone. So that and, the bad defense against Scotty Miller, but mostly because he couldn't get to Brady in the first half. And why? Because he blitzed him only 13% in the first half, Mike. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So Bowles is blitzing, but you can't blitz Patrick Mahomes. He has the best quarterback rating against the blitz of any quarterback this year for a number of reasons. One, Reid is very good. You just mentioned Andy Reid. Historically, he's been very good at if they do this, you do that. If they then do that, you do this. His contingency off the blitz is among the best, I think the best ever in the last 25 years. 2, Mahomes just has so many places to go with the football. You can't double Hill or Kelsey. You can't double them both. You got to double one or the other.
Yeah.
You got to pick your poison for sure, 100%. And the other, Mahomes has just a natural ability to sidestep the rush, and his release is so quick.
Sal, before we let you roll here, and you'll be back on Friday, and of course, Johnny G, the Burger Realty team, thanks to them, Sal is here for Super Bowl 55 on this Tuesday. He'll be back on Friday with the last look before the big game. I do want to get your take on what happened over the weekend because Jared Goff gets traded, but they had to throw in 2 first-round picks to get that done. So what is that for the Eagle fan out there who's saying, trade Wentz? That trade says what?
Michael, I want you to be in your office one day and get an email before you go on the air. And the email is a press release from the Eagles. We traded Carson Wentz to, let's pick a team, to the Carolina Panthers. And in order for them to take to Carson Wentz, we threw in 2 first-round picks. We got Teddy Bridgewater back in exchange. You would go nuts. Howie Roseman would be laughed off the stage. He'd be vilified. Rams had to sweeten the deal to get the Lions to swallow Goff's contract, similar to Wentz's contract, with 2 first-rounders. Eagles are never going to do that. That could happen in L.A. because you got the Lakers and the Dodgers and the Rams, but are not that big of a deal out there. But in Philadelphia, the Eagles are a way of life that would never pass muster in Philly. Am I right about that or what? Come on.
No, absolutely. We were talking about it yesterday. Would you throw the 2 first-round picks in? Because you mentioned Carolina. Apparently, they offered pick 8 to get Goff, but to get Stafford. But the 2 picks coming from L.A., too hard to pass up. No other team was doing that.
No one was. And here's the real great irony. The Rams keep Sean McVay, who couldn't beat Doug Peterson in a big game and scored 3 points against Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl, and they trade their failed quarterback. The Eagles keep their failed quarterback and get rid of Doug Peterson, who beat McVay all the time and beat Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl, with a backup quarterback, a back middle linebacker, and a backup left tackle when Tom Brady threw 505 yards. Come on, go figure. Tell me that's not crazy.
What a world. What a world. It's the NFL. Sal Paolantonio is covering Super Bowl 55. It's the 10th time he has covered Tom Brady. And by the way, Gronk has been a part of that too. I saw you got a chance to catch up with Gronk after the NFC Championship game. He's been there as well, and they are back. The party's in Tampa. Probably a little different party this year, huh?
It is. Our ESPN complex is all the way on the other side of the causeway. We're in St. Pete Beach. Nice beach.
Not bad.
But I'd rather be in Ocean City. The beach is nicer in Ocean City. Thanks to Johnny G and the Griner team at Burger Realty in Ocean City for supporting my appearances on the Mike Gill Show. Mike, love being on the radio with you, brother.
All right, man. We'll catch up with you Friday. Enjoy the weather because it's snowing like crazy here.
Oh, my gosh. I know.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to somebody back in Philly, they're like, you're in St. Pete, and they hang up on me.
I'm about to do the same. See you later, man. Sal Paolantonio, everybody, ESPN, and of course, see, like all guests appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. There you go. What an awesome insight on Tom Brady. 10 years in the Super Bowl there, that whole breakdown that he gave at the beginning of our conversation. But Brodes, how about the conversation about Howie Roseman would be vilified here if he traded 2 first-round picks for Matthew Stafford?
I like how he brought up the conversation we had yesterday about what the Rams did compared to what the Eagles did, but he forgot some context. Not only did the Eagles decide to move on from Doug Peterson, but they ended up hiring his old assistant's assistant. So just add that into the equation as well.
Wait, say that again?
Like, not only did the Eagles decide to choose the quarterback that's been struggling, but they hired the coach that they fired in Doug Peterson. They hired his assistants and Frank Reich assistant.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. The irony there is just, do you think that Roseman would have been vilified for giving up 2 picks and Wentz to get Stafford?
It would be split because all the Carson Wentz haters would probably say, well, I don't know, because people hate Howie so much that the Carson Wentz haters would find a way, because they probably still hate Howie, to blame him for it, even though they wanted Carson Wentz gone. So to answer your question, yeah, I do think that he would get crushed.
All right, Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. It is brought to you by Matt Blatt Nissan. The all-new Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Online at mattblattnissan.com. When we come back, we go inside the Sixers. Kevin Kincaid is next right here to talk a little Sixers with us. Why is Ben Simmons thriving? Kevin Kincaid explains next.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Burkott pulls up, wing jump shot of McConnell. It's good. Burkott Korkmaz gives the Sixers the lead.
The Sixers are in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins tomorrow after high school basketball.
Kendall Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard, or shop from home at KendallAutoplaza.com.
Weightlifters and fitness enthusiasts, you got to check out weightliftinghq.com. They are a local company right here in South Jersey that operates fully online and caters to weightlifters and fitness enthusiasts interested in working out from home. They offer high-end weightlifting and fitness equipment available to be delivered right to your home. Check them out online at weightliftinghq.com and use the code RADIO10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. That's code RADIO10 at weightliftinghq.com.
This week at Macy's, get 20 to 65% off great Valentine's Day gifts they're sure to love. Give them something amazing from the Effie Diamond and Gemstone collections, now 60 to 65% off. All sterling silver jewelry, 65% off. And more dazzling fine jewelry, 45 to 55%, plus an extra 20% off. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo. Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et tu viens tu.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Any credit card can offer cash back, but only Discover matches all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. It's like getting one of those birthday cards that's shaped like cash, so you already know there's cash inside before opening it. But in this case, it's stuffed with your first year cash back match, and you don't even have to send a thank you note. Cashback match. Only by Discover Card. Learn more at discover.com/match. Discover. Something brighter.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
Recently, Total Wireless helped Charlie Michelle stage a virtual dance recital for her friends and family.
This event was super meaningful to them.
Because when you move to Total Wireless, you can get amazing devices on nationwide 5G. And with unlimited plans starting at $25 a month, you could save up to $1,200 a year.
Thank you, Total Wireless, for helping me pull this off.
Total Wireless. Do amazing. Compatible 5G device required. 5G network in limited areas. Month equals 30 days. Savings claim made when compared to 4-line postpaid plans of leading carriers 10-20-20. See terms and conditions at totalwireless.com.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
We're back, Sports Bash Live. It's Inside the Sixers. We'll take a look inside the Sixers here. Kevin Kincaid from CrossingBroad.com will be our Sixers guest today as the Sixers have the night off. They play the Hornets tomorrow. They are in Charlotte. We'll have the game for you here on 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, Kevin Kincaid has covered the Sixers the last couple of years. We'll get some good insight from him on what's different about this Sixers team. I want to get his take on how Doc Rivers' offense looks a little different, what they're doing with Ben Simmons. But first, Brodes, what do you got?
Deal that you need to hit on. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter the DraftKings free Super Bowl prediction challenge. Once you submit your picks, you will get a free instant prize up to $25,000. The top prize, $1 million. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code 973 when you sign up. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, there he is, Kevin Kincaid, a fine WVU alum, as he joins us here to talk a little Sixers, inside the Sixers. And Kevin, this team is last year was like painful to get through. We had to watch, and it was like painful every night. This team is a lot more fun. But what do you see that's different about this team when you watch them? Like, is it just as simple as they switch two players in and out, and that's the difference? But or is it something that sticks out to you as to why this team seems more fun than last year's team? I don't know that Kevin's hearing us right now. Do you hear us, Kevin? Kevin, are you hearing us? I see Kevin. but I don't know that he's hearing us right now.
It seems like he is not, because I'm hearing you.
All right. So Kevin is not hearing us. So maybe we can have Josh reach out to him or something. And there's Kevin. He's kind of staring at us, and he's just saying,
he's giving us the earphone look here.
Yeah. Well, you can answer the question. He says no audio. All right. We'll see if he can. Josh, maybe you can give him a call and see if he can hear us, because he's saying he's not hearing us. But we'll get Kevin here on a second. Now, you would figure that he has used the video many of times and that this is something that he normally does.
Yeah, I feel like if he was to speak, we would hear him, because I hear him fondling around a bit. So I guess it's just he doesn't know what he's responding to.
Yeah, exactly. He's just kind of like, hey, he just typed me. I have no audio. And we're going to pick up his phone now. We're going to try to get him here on the phone and see what's going on. But he definitely has the ability to
This
talk.
is West Virginia University. You guys just don't learn anything there, apparently.
Well, it's funny. We'll be able to watch him talk like on his phone. It'll be kind of fun there, right?
Yeah, look, he's reacting to Josh.
Yeah. So he said that the WVU people can't figure out how to get the audio to. We could hear you, but you couldn't hear us.
Oh, that's not true. A West Virginia joke, that's uncalled for. We're just having a little technical difficulties over here. But it's always good to be on the Sports Bash, especially with another fine Mountaineer and Mike Gill.
Yeah, I saw the WVU kids today. Did you see the video of them going down the hill on refrigerators?
Yeah, look, points for creativity, right? You gotta find whatever is available and make use of it. So good for them. Yeah, it's college ingenuity, right?
So you've been around this team for a while. You covered the Brett era, and now we're seeing Doc. Is it as simple, Kevin, that they just switched two guys and this team's now fun? Because last year was miserable. It was painful to get through that season. They really only made a handful of tweaks. They switched two guys out. And entering the year, I don't think people were like, well, this team could be a finals contender. I think most people thought they were still a middle-of-the-road team. So why are now maybe the expectations better?
Yeah, it's interesting because, when they made the change to bring in Seth Curry and to bring in Danny Green, I was just kind of laughing to myself because I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, this is a team that Brett would love to coach. And it fit his kind of team, space and pace and move up and down the floor. And in a lot of ways, it was reminiscent really of what the 2017 team was, so you got Joel Embiid, you got Ben Simmons. Let's say Seth Curry is like your JJ Redick, your sniper. You got a 3-and-D guy in Danny Green who's not going to take a ton of shots, but he can be your Robert Covington and get some shots up, and play defense on the wing. And then you had Darius Saric and Tobias Harris kind of reprising the same role. Of course, Tobias a better player and not just stand in the corner and shoot 3-pointers kind of player, but beyond that, Joel Embiid having a career year, kind of hitting his peak, and Doc just kind of knowing when to press the buttons and when not to press the buttons. I don't think Brett was a bad X's and O's coach at all. I think over the years you saw him dial up some good stuff. He was pretty good on ATO plays and stuff with the whiteboard. I just think that Doc, with the experience he has, is just better kind of knowing when to put his fingerprints on and then when not to. And you saw that in the LA game. The play that they closed on, that multi-action play that they won on. You saw it the other night when they went 2-3 zone down the stretch. So probably the combination of all those things.
So Ben Simmons obviously is a maddening guy. His scoring average is way down, and then people wanted to trade him. But what's happened recently that his game and his scoring has gone up?
Just the commitment to aggression and that commitment to assertiveness. I think if you look at his shot chart from the other night, he was 9 for 12. And if you go look at like the visualization of it, like a plot or whatever, like every single shot came within like 2 feet of the basket. It looked like a Dwight Howard 2010 shot plot or something, but they're just doing little things to try to get him to be in that mindset. Doc Rivers dropped a good quote the other night about they set up a couple double drags for Ben in early transition. Basically what a double drag is, because I know it's not a visual medium, it's radio, but you just basically set 2 staggered screens in early transition, near midcourt, and then Ben can sort of run off that. There's a lot of moving parts, get him to the rim Indiana, for some reason, likes to play their bigs up on pick and roll defense. So there's going to be gaps there for him to get there, you know? So it's about that commitment to finishing through contact and to rounding the corner and to getting downhill. And, you know, he can be a point scorer if he has to. They have to change, too, how they play. I think the good thing about the other night was in the fourth quarter, they changed how they played without Joel Embiid on the floor, because they were 0-4 without him previously. And it's like they just go and try to play the same game, but you can't really play the same game, you know? So they went 2-3 zone. Ben was more aggressive. Furkan Korkmaz was in the game in the fourth quarter. And, you know, with Ben, it's just like, I understand people are frustrated that he appears to be the same player on offense, but, you know, people always got to frame the argument in a specific way. It's not that I know people are disappointed about that, but again, you look at a guy who's had he can do literally every other thing. People make it seem like it's a negative that he doesn't shoot, but like in my case, I say, well, imagine what he could be with a shot. You know, he'd be the most complete player to come through Philadelphia in a long time, or the NBA in a long time. So I think that's why it's such a hot button issue, because people imagine what he could be if he had it, you know?
Are you afraid that will limit this team in the postseason, though, down in the half-court sets and when things intensify? But I think that's where, because, like, this is the first year I truly snapped. I was a big defender, but, like, I lost my mind a little bit. And I'm just afraid that when it comes down to those playoff moments again, if he has to hide in that dunker spot or whatever, that's where my concern is.
No, you're right, Brodes, because he's like, it was never an issue of that's why I was always so stupid when people make these jokes about, well, can they coexist or not? Well, I mean, him and Embiid, they won 53 games, the two of them, you know? But it's one thing to win these regular season games. There's always going to be a question of, you know, how that works in the fourth quarter, late in games when they have to have these half-court possessions in the playoffs, you know? And, you know, so far, it's kind of played out the way it has played out in the past. You know, if you go to that LA game from last week and you look at the play they called to win it, just multi-option, right? Okay, there's a pin down screen, Seth Curry and Joel Embiid. Then they end up in a Curry and Harris pick and roll, and they get the switch, and he drives an Alex Caruso and he hits the shot. To your point, Ben Simmons is just standing in the dunker spot the entire time. So right now the answer is no. Nothing has changed as far as his utility in the half court in these late game scenarios. But, you know, if they can execute the way they did on that play, that might be feasible. You know, that might be tenable. I know it's maddening because you're looking at the same Ben that you've seen for the last 4 years, but if everybody else is doing what they have to do and they can find a way to work around it, then it may be suitable. They may be able to live that way.
I guess, Kevin, one of the questions would be then, like, if Ben's scoring 11 points a game, can they win that way? I guess the follow would be they can maybe if the guys around him do their job, kind of what you said. Like, one of the reasons why his scoring average is down is Shake Milton scoring 15 a game 2 weeks ago. Now he's not, and Maxey was scoring 10. Now those guys' numbers have gone down and Simmons has gone up, but it's almost like people want to see him score 16, and if he only scores 11, that's good enough. But what does it matter?
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And, you know, it's funny because we always, we look at Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid as being the two superstars. You know, it's always how we framed the narrative around this team. But the fact of the matter is that Tobias Harris makes the most money. So if Tobias and Joel Embiid are scoring, Seth Curry's hitting some three-pointers, Danny Green's hitting some three-pointers, they don't need Ben Simmons to score. You know? I mean, you'd love to see it, and we want him to take the next step forward. But if those four guys are playing the way they are right now, Tobias's numbers are just about right where they were when he was playing for Doc, those 52 or 53-some games in Los Angeles, which are close to career highs, and some of them are career highs. And Joel's hitting career highs as well. So, I mean, the answer to that is Ben really doesn't have to be anybody different if we look at it as Tobias and Joel being the 1 and 2 scorer.
Daryl Morey was quoted mentioning being championship or bust. What type of moves do you think is needed and that he's talking about? Is it a backup primary ball handler? Are they sold on Shake? I know they keep mentioning the power forward position, so I think that's something they're going to look at. But what do you think that means when Daryl Morey says that? What do you think's next?
You know, people talk about J.J. Redick. I wouldn't make a trade for J.J. because of his salary. I think he'll probably hit the buyout market. So maybe you look at it that way. Backup power forward for sure, because right now with Mike Scott, they have to, you know, all they can really do is stagger. You know, it's Tobias and him, and that's pretty much it. Dwight Howard's interesting. You know, he's been up and down a little bit this year. I feel like when he's relegated to just doing his role, which is playing defense and rebounding, they're okay. But you could always use more shooting for sure. I think defensively, they're okay, but I think we're beyond blockbuster move at this point. I don't think obviously a James Harden is not happening, but a Zach LaVine's probably not happening too. I mean, this is a pretty damn good team as they are. So you try to add around the fringes and do a little bit of what you did maybe in 2017 when you had the Ilyasova and the Bellinelli kind of additions. But I don't think there's any reason for them to do anything crazy right now.
Kevin, do you anticipate seeing more of that zone based on the personnel that they have? I know it's unconventional for an NBA team to kind of utilize that on a night-to-night basis. They probably did it because of no Joel, and they had to be a little bit, they were down. But did they find something to say, we should incorporate this more?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, the personnel for it is amazing. You remember when Matisse was drafted last year, ironically, one of the knocks that people had on him was that he played 2-3 zone at Washington, under a Jim Boeheim disciple. And people were like, well, is he going to be able to make the transition from playing cheap, because zone is like stigmatized as being cheap and easy, right? Can he play that? Can he go from that to playing man-to-man in the NBA? And that's no problem, right? So you take his length and then you put another all-NBA defensive player next to him, Ben Simmons, and that's an impossible, front court or back court, I'm sorry, to get through there. And then imagine if you had Joel Embiid on the floor, you could have him down there in Dwight Howard's spot, and that's tough to get around. Now, good NBA teams are great passing teams, so they're going to be able to find gaps and hit a couple 3-pointers. It worked against a team like Indy, who doesn't take a lot of 3-pointers and isn't a good 3-point shooting team, but I don't see why they can't go back to that for sure. You only come out of zone really when teams figure it out, and when you go into it and they don't figure it out, you can stay in it as long as you want to, and that's what they did the other night.
Joel has obviously been insane this year. What impresses you the most when watching him play this season?
It's just how he's added every level to the scoring now. And, because we know that he was dominant on the inside. We know he was great from 10 to 12 feet, but now they're running like these delay actions and stuff for him where they just hand him the ball on the 3-point line. He doesn't necessarily have to shoot the 3-pointer, but he's able to create from there. He's able to get into the paint. He's able to feel contact and draw fouls. The way that he's getting to the line is, how would I put it? It's absurd, the numbers that he's putting up there. If you go by per 36 numbers, so if everybody in the league plays the same amount of minutes and you extrapolate that, right now Joel Embiid is getting to the foul line 12.2 times per 36 minutes. Just for the sake of the exercise, because I was interested, I went back and looked at like 25 years of that statistic, and nobody was even close to hitting that. Not Giannis, not prime Dwight Howard, not prime Shaquille O'Neal. Per 36, they were only getting the foul line like 10 times per game. He's going to shatter that number if he keeps doing it at the way he is this year. And those trips to the foul line just unlock the rest of his game and get him into a rhythm, and then he just starts rolling. I don't know how many times we've looked up this year, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, where did 27 points come from? Where did 29 points come from? Because he's just like ripping off 10 to 12, and he's like batches in like these second quarters and third quarters, and you're like, wow, holy crap, he's already where he is. So just kind of to answer the question, just for him to kind of be able to put it together at every level now and feel that contact and just sort of master the art of the rip through, which he was already good at. He's really, really fleshed that out to like elite status now.
Well, Kevin, I guess in like closing, we've watched Ben and Joel together, and we all just assume they're the two guys. Tobias is in there, but maybe in years past, they weren't ready to win. They were young. They just weren't ready. Do we feel that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, quite frankly, have matured to where they're ready to win?
I think so too, and that's a great point. And that's not anything that you can really, qualify or quantify. Sometimes it just clicks for people, and that's the thing that I kind of feel bad for Brett in a way, because he got these guys at their earliest, and it's funny because sometimes, like, I think we all have this idea that development is like a linear path, right? Like a guy comes into the NBA, he's going to shoot 40%, then he's going to shoot 42%, then he's going to shoot 44%. It's going to kind of go up on a slope, a grade, right? I'm making a motion with my arm. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it just clicks with people, and like in your third year, your fourth year, it's just like a light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, aha, I get it. Or the personnel that you're playing against is different, or you just like everybody, I think, reaches this moment, any job you do, any profession, where it just starts to click and it becomes automatic for you. And I don't know if that's where Ben is right now, but Joel is definitely there.
Yeah.
27 years old. I think like you look at those median ages where people hit those primes and just start to take off. He's right at that age right now. So it's been a pleasure it's been like a privilege to watch,
It has been, as last year, as painful as it was, 1 year, has been such a difference, especially in watching Joel Embiid. You're right about that. Kevin Kincaid covers the 76ers. CrossingBroad.com is where you can check out more of his work. Sixers off tonight. They're back tomorrow, and then back-to-back they'll play Thursday. We'll see if the big man is back dealing with that back stuff. But, it's a lot more fun this year watching this team for sure. And as you said, Brett was not the most popular guy amongst the fans. It would have been interesting to see how that would have been different this year, but we'll check that out. All right, Kevin, appreciate it, man.
No problem. Maybe next time I'll get my audio-visual situation sorted, all right?
Yeah, man. You fix that, man. He, August, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. All right, we will pop Kevin out of the stream, and let's get right into some other conversation. Jeff Nadeau, big man on campus, Barstool Sports. He's going to pop right on with us now here on the Boardwalk Honda hotline as we just got Kevin to talk a little Sixers for us. I'll ask you, Jeff, I know you're a big Sixer guy, and you were an advocate of getting rid of Ben Simmons and probably still are, but as constructed, do we feel that this Sixers team, is there good value in them?
No.
Not liking it.
No, because they're still not good enough to beat the good teams in this conference. I mean, again, Mike, I keep going back to this, and look, I'll give it to them. The win against the Lakers was impressive. That wasn't easy. Almost blew the game, but that's not easy. We're going to see. There's still, I think, a lot to shake out with them. I think they're getting there, but no, I don't think in a 7-game series they can beat Brooklyn. I don't think in a 7-game series they could beat, the Heat. All those teams are going to get stronger as the season goes on. Joel Embiid, he obviously is playing his heart out, but I don't know. Ben Simmons has always been off to me. He has his games where, he'll play really well. But, a prime example of Ben Simmons, guys, is, that game against the Pistons a couple of weeks ago. Ben Simmons, if he could shoot the basketball, had an opportunity to take a three to win the game. Instead, he passes the shot up, takes a second or two off the clock even more, and then Tyrese Maxey has to rush and take an off-balance three. And, that's the issue with him in the half court. So, no, I don't really think there is any value. I mean, they're not really, in the market, they're not really priced that well. It'd be different if I was getting a different price. I'd take a shot, but you're not getting any value with them from a price standpoint.
You're priced out on Embiid too, right? I mean, if you wanted to jump on him to be MVP, I think he's at the top of the ledger now.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's playing terrific. I mean, Nikola Jokic, guys like that have played well as well. But yeah, I mean, Embiid is a figure that a lot of people, everyone sees he's playing well, and those odds obviously change. So, yeah, he would probably be my favorite right now.
All right, Jeff Nadeau is the host of Big Man on Basketball. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast. That drops on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. The latest edition is out on Monday. He'll have a new edition out tomorrow, and we like to get Jeff on early in the week for some early plays, early lines. So last time we had you, we'll be back on Saturday mornings. Jeff's live with us on Saturday mornings as well. I do want to get Super Bowl thoughts before we get to that. It hasn't moved at all. It's still at 3. It opened at 3.5. And as we kind of talked about last week, on Tuesday here, do you anticipate that thing moving or staying here?
Yeah, I don't think it'll move. I mean, there's so much volume on this game. It's hard to have a number move. And look, where it is now, I mean, that's what bookmakers want. They want even action on both sides. They're going to get a hell of a lot of volume. But look, a lot of the time, guys, I mean, the Super Bowl is, from a betting standpoint, at least a game, it's peewee hour. It's everyone on earth wants to have a bet on the game. The where you make your money is in the prop markets. I've said that for years. There's a prop for literally everything. I'm not just talking about the game itself, who's going to catch a certain amount of passes or who has a touchdown. But, quasi stuff, now with fans not there as much this year, it's a little different. But, there's – who will be at the game, who will be shown on TV, how many times have they shown, all that kind of stuff. I had a prop a couple of years ago when the New England Patriots went to the Super Bowl. The best prop on the board was, will Bon Jovi be shown? It was a really random bet, but I had some really good information that he was going to be in the box with Robert Kraft. And if you know anything about Kraft, he always has some sort of celebrity in that box with him. I knew they'd show Kraft at some point. So, and it was like minus 160, I think. So it was, you got to look really deep, but if it's there, I'm betting it.
So this is up your alley. What will be higher, Tom Brady's passing yards or GameStop's closing price on February the 5th?
Now you're thinking, Mike, is that a real prop or no?
That is a real prop.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
minus 200 Tom Brady, plus 150 GameStop.
Yeah, I would lean with Brady. He would definitely be the favorite there. You got to figure GameStop by Friday will be significantly lower than where it is now. But no, that's if you're someone that follows both markets, those stuff, they're there to be bet, Mike. I mean, and look, I will say this: when you're betting prop markets, you've got to be willing to lay prices. You're not going to just sit there and pick off plus 130 dogs all day. You got to lay somebody to make money. But big gamblers will do that. There's a reason that a number is minus 200, or there's a reason there's a minus 300. When I was a young bettor, I used to be that guy that said, I'll never bet anything over 130 or 140. But as you get older and you start betting bigger and you start betting different things, people that say, I'm not going to lay this, it's nonsense. It's ridiculous. I heard all that when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather. Every amateur gambler on earth took Conor McGregor. He had no shot. He's not going to beat a boxer. Floyd Mayweather was the best boxer in the history of the sport, yet there was every amateur bettor in America took Conor. The real bettors laid 450 with Floyd, and it was a layup. So you got to lay prices.
All right, he's Jeff Nadeau, host of the Big Man on Basketball podcast from Barstool Sports. Let's take a look at some. By the way, I got some really good props that were sent to me today. It's all like for instance, just to give you a little, example of what I'm looking at here, you got like cross sports, like Patrick Mahomes touchdowns or Alexander Ovechkin's total shots on goal, stuff like that. Like they're trying to tie like these things with the different sports to the game.
Crossover props.
Yeah. So a lot of fun. We'll throw some of those out. Maybe we'll do some more of these on Saturday morning when Jeff is back here. But let's look at some action for tonight for the people out there and get a couple of thoughts from you. Iowa, Michigan State. That Iowa, Friday night, that was wild. Michigan State played Ohio State Saturday. So this is a good one. Iowa, Michigan State. And it's a pretty big line that moved. It opened at 11, down to 9.5.
Yeah, I think the sharp bettors came in and took Michigan State. They're just hoping that they're not as bad as they've basically been for most of the year. This team sucks, Mike. I mean, it's that simple. Michigan State's not any good. We don't need to keep respecting them because they're Michigan State. They're not going to just flip on a switch and be better. The problem you have in this game is Iowa's lost 2 games in a row as well. So you're not really going to catch a team sleeping or anything. Michigan State isn't good. They've lost 6 of 8 overall. Every game on the road this year, they've gotten absolutely pulverized for the most part in the Big Ten. The only game they've won was at Nebraska. You, me, your producer, and 2 other guys could probably beat Nebraska. So, at the end of the day, I think they're going to have major issues, Mike, inside with Luka Garza. Wouldn't surprise me if Luka has a gigantic game. They have no one that can guard him. If I were Iowa, I would feed him all night. I think to get into the 80s. I think Michigan State's a bad basketball team. They don't defend. They've been one of the worst offenses in this conference. They turn it over left and right. They can't defend without fouling. They do nothing fundamentally well. They have no leader. They have no point guard. Michigan State sucks. This is the worst team Tom Izzo's had in probably his career.
So the numbers opened at 11. It's 9.5. You like Iowa with the 9.5? And
yeah, I would lay the price. I think they take care of business. Again, Mike, look at the last 4 games for Michigan State on the road: 79-62, 67-37, 81-56, and 79-65. All losses. They've gotten destroyed on the road. This team stinks.
Arkansas, Mississippi State. That is a 9 o'clocker, so you can see your money from the Iowa game and roll it into the Arkansas. You going live tonight? You doing a little live vid tonight with Nathan?
Well, I have to record my show, so I don't usually do the live ones those nights. But probably Wednesday I'll do a live one. But no, listen, Mike, this is a tough game for Arkansas. I'm not a believer in their coach. I think he's one of the worst coaches in high major basketball. He's an all talk guy. He's a good recruiter. He can give you a good line, but I think on the court, he's pretty bad. He's a pretty bad coach, Musselman, from an X&O standpoint. Mississippi State's tough, man. I mean, they rebound the hell out of the ball. They're good defensively. They work possessions. They make you really work on defense. And this is a defensive team for Arkansas that just can't stop anybody. I've seen them multiple games. They're just dreadful defensively. I think this number's too high. I think Arkansas is being priced way too high. We're not playing a game in sold-out Fayetteville at Bud Walton tonight. That's not the case here. I don't know that we have to worry so much about that. I think they're pricing these games a little too high in this conference. Mississippi State could really struggle from three and get it blown out after a 4 or 5 minute scoring drought. But I believe that Mississippi State is legit on defense, and I believe they're legit and can score here. So I'll take a 7.5, 8 and say, well, I'll think this is like a 73-68 type of game.
All right, likes Mississippi State minus 7.5 there. Another game.
Plus 7.5.
Plus 7.5, my bad. Tennessee was a team that we liked, and then all of a sudden, what happened there? They got Ole Miss tonight, and that one is a kind of. I thought the number here it was 4 plus 4 to start. Now it's 3.5. Was kind of interesting. Tennessee's on the road here.
Well, let me tell you what happened, Mike. Tennessee has 3 losses. All 3 of those games, their best player, Jaden Springer, the top 25 freshman, didn't play. Every other game that Springer's played in, they have won, and they've looked terrific in. He is the catalyst and one of the most important players on the team in America. They have to have him. He does everything. He's a great guard. He can score. He can rebound. He's an assist guy. He just does everything. And they need him offensively because they don't have other guys like that. And without him, they look bad. But he's back. They beat up Kansas over the weekend. Mississippi University, Ole Miss is ugly. They are hard to watch. They're actually the best under team, Mike, in America. No one's been better. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are a slow, boring, hideous, dreadful, despicable offense. They are hard to watch. And it wouldn't surprise me if they struggle to get to 60. Tennessee is very good on the defensive end. This will be a tough game to watch. I think, though, Tennessee kind of gets going a little bit. They'll have the opportunity to make some three-point shots. They don't turn it over. They get to the line. I think they'll manufacture enough offense. But this is going to be a tough game to watch. I wouldn't want to watch this one. I would lean with Tennessee. I just kind of have some fascination with this game just because it's a road game for Tennessee. It looks like one of those spots where they kind of roll, and maybe Kermit Davis has something for them. But I'm going to lean with Tennessee. I think they're really good with Springer. I think they take care of business here.
All right. There were 3 games of note on the college slate. I don't know if you have another one or if there's an NBA play. It's an interesting NBA card tonight. I know you like to get in like Pistons, Jazz. It's a 9.5 line. It's a 10 o'clock game. Also, another interesting one when you're looking at totals, you got the Nets who give up a ton of points. It's over under 245 against the Clippers. So is there another college or NBA play that you want to dive into for tonight?
Yeah, I think that Blazer game is interesting. I mean, that you talk about a team that doesn't stop anybody. Portland is hard to watch on the defensive end, man. I mean, you had Covington and you think, oh, maybe they're going to be improved, but it hasn't really mattered. Washington is dreadful defensively as well. I mean, these are 2 bad defenses. When you look at defensive efficiency, Washington and Portland 28th and 29th in the league. The only team worse is arguably one of the worst defensive teams in the history of the NBA, the Sacramento Kings. So, this is a game priced at 240. That's about as high as you'll see in the NBA. I'm not sure if it matters. I don't love these like kind of. It makes total sense. You have to play it. I don't like these kind of games, but I got to be honest, Mike. I don't know who stops who in this game. It just seems like one of those 128, 125 type of games. Washington has the fastest tempo in the league. Portland will kind of go with them as well. So I think you see plenty of offense. It's probably first to 125 wins.
By the way, that game opened at 245 over under Nets Clippers. It's down to 241. But
yeah, well, what happens, Mike, in those types of games is sharp bettors will come in and they'll just take the under. That's always what they're going to do. Whenever you see a high NFL total, you'll always see sharp money on the under. They're just going to bank on the fact that you don't get that 5 minute. You get that 5 minutes where no one scores or there's limited scoring, and that could be the difference between you winning or losing a total. Sharp bettors like unders. Square bettors generally bet overs, but this is too high for square bettors to get involved with. They just don't even notice it. So I'll lean in and think that it just goes how I think it's going to go. And Dame Lillard has a big game. And, again, first to 125 wins.
Jeff, we got a minute and a half. Give me a John Chaney memory.
Yeah, well, I got a quick one for you. When I was 9 or 10 years old, John Chaney and Temple Owls were probably my first real basketball that I would watch regularly. It was Allen Iverson. It was John Chaney. If you remember, Mike, 2001, Tampa went to the Elite Eight. Lane Greer, Wadley, Ron Rollerson, that team. Sixers went to the NBA Finals. It was probably the greatest basketball year I ever remembered. It made me fall in love with basketball. John Chaney is the most influential and important basketball coach probably in the history of the sport outside of John Thompson. They did more for young men in America than 50 or 100 politicians can do in a lifetime. They are important to our community. We have to stop. We have to fund basketball because it is important to the growth of men in our country, and it prevents tons of bad things from happening. He did so much for young men in the Philadelphia area, Rasheed Brookenbrow and Aaron McKee and Eddie Jones and all these different guys. Without John Chaney, we don't have those. Without John Thompson, we don't have Allen Iverson. He was the only one that took a shot on Allen coming out of prison. We need more people like John Chaney, and it was a complete loss. I'm still upset about that. He was my favorite coach in the history of basketball, and I'm sad after he was gone. I'll miss John Chaney.
Real good. Jeff Nadeau is the host of Big Man on Basketball. The podcast drops Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Follow him at Jeff Nadeau for his plays and his videos. And check out Big Man on Basketball, Barstool Sports. Jeff will be back on Saturday morning with the weekend card. And we'll go through some of those fun crossover bets. All right, Jeff, take care, man.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, guys.
All right. He, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. And, of course, when we come back, man, it's already 4 o'clock. Brodes, football at 4 is on the way. We'll see what DiCecco thinks about taking a tight end in the first round. If you're at pick number 6, I'm sure he will have an opinion on this mock draft from Bucky Brooks. That's coming up next. Don't go away. The Sports Bash is live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app, and watch us live on our website.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
Ryder Hunt gets over and makes a great save.
The Flyers host the Boston Bruins. Coverage begins after Sixers basketball. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, brought to you by the Wound Care Clinic of South Jersey.
High blood pressure or hypertension is very common and something many Americans have to keep an eye on. In fact, you could have high blood pressure and not even know it. After all, there's a reason it is known as the silent killer. It can put unwanted stress on your heart and can lead to serious health problems such as heart attack, kidney disease, sexual dysfunction, and stroke. Your blood pressure consists of 2 numbers, and these numbers may fluctuate during the day depending on your activities. But new guidelines from the American Heart Association actually lower the threshold that's considered too high. This new definition will result in nearly half of the U.S. adult population having high blood pressure, with the greatest impact among younger people. Take control of these numbers by decreasing sodium, cutting out smoking, and increasing physical activity. In some cases, medication may also help. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Brought to you by the Wound Care Clinic of South Jersey in Northfield.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening, who's able to hear more than what's being said, and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. But maybe you're unaware of new tools that can help your business stand out. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com for a free market competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too. There's no cost and no obligation. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Get started today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
Today on Hey Culligan, the best things in life are free. Water tests. Let's go to Candace.
Hey Culligan, how do I learn more about my water?
Candace, let me just test the waters here.
Okay.
Literally test your water.
Oh.
For free.
Free?
Free, Candace. In-home water tests for free. So you know more about your water and how to make it better with Culligan water. And Candace,
Yeah?
we're already on the way.
Oh, good.
Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo. Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et tu viens tu.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com, BABBEL.com.
The COVID-19 vaccine distribution has started, which is why I'm hopeful that a stronger, healthier future is in sight. But we're not there yet. We have to stop the virus from spreading. Take it from me, Dr. Kemi Ali from Henry J. Austin Health Center. Even though it's 2021, my fellow doctors, nurses, EMTs, and all healthcare workers around New Jersey are still fighting this virus on the front lines day and night. And we need you to keep fighting with us. Even though some people have been vaccinated, we all need to keep wearing face masks. Stay safe by staying socially distanced, and go get tested even if you don't have symptoms. Because we all have a role to play in stopping the spread of this virus. So let's do it for each other, New Jersey. Let's do it for us all. Please visit covid19.nj.gov for more information.
The radio home of the 76ers. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJHD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with 97.3 ESPN.com's Andrew DiCecco.
My first allegiance is what will be best for the Philadelphia Eagles and our fans for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast and brought to you locally by Dr. Lyle M. Back. For everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery, go to ilovelylback.com or call 856-MAKEOVER for Dr. Lyle M. Back, proud sponsor of Football at 4. The latest Inside the Birds podcast drops Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at 6 a.m. You can check it out with Adam Kaplan and Jeff Mosher right now. Andrew DiCecco from 97.3 ESPN.com covers the Eagles. Joins us here for Football at 4. And let's take a look at everything that's going on off-season draft-wise. Andrew, we want to dive into something with you that you're the perfect guy for Football at 4 today. I know how much you love the draft and how much you study the draft. So let's get into this. I don't know if you saw Bucky Brooks' most recent mock draft, but, man, I wanted to get your opinion on what kind of reaction there would be if the Eagles took a tight end with the 6th pick in the draft.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the Eagles could stand to trade down a little bit in the first round and still be able to get Kyle Pitts. But when you look at Nick Sirianni's offense, it's you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets, I would assume. And Zach Ertz probably won't be here. So, I mean, you could certainly justify getting another elite tight end. And when you look at Kyle Pitts, the thing with him is he's not just a tight end. You can move him around. You can use Goddard Goddard's going to be the dominant blocker, but Pitts can be a wide receiver. You can move him in the slot. You can move him all over the place. He's a mismatched weapon, and he runs routes like a wide receiver. And in some cases, I would be inclined to say that he runs routes better than many of the prominent wide receivers in this draft. So, I mean, could they stand to go elsewhere? And yes, that would be a luxury pick in my opinion. But I mean, he would certainly be the ultimate weapon that you can move around, and it would help any quarterback out, obviously.
Let me ask you this. If you're considering taking a wide receiver at that spot, would you then say, why not consider Pitts? If you're already thinking about taking an offensive player and it's a skill position player, why not? If you're going to take one of those wideouts, would you consider including him into that mix?
I mean, I think you have to, and then look no further than the Brian Johnson connection there at Florida, who has familiarity there. He's able to give a little bit of insight about what kind of a player he is, what kind of mismatches he can present for a team, how to best utilize them, and what he's going to be like in the locker room. I think that can't be discredited, and they could certainly go that route. I mean, they're going to use 2 tight ends. That's going to be if you look at what Nick Sirianni did with the Colts, that was, you look at Jack Doyle, you look at Mo Alley Cox, you look at Trey Burton. Those guys are all heavily implemented in their offense, big pieces of their offense. So when you get a guy like Kyle Pitts, he's such a rare athlete that, like I said, you can move him around, and and that's the way the NFL is really trending, to get these movable guys around to create mismatches, and he's going to be a really good one for a long time in the NFL.
Yeah, you make a great point saying that Sirianni's past implements the 12 personnel and the tight end. But I just wonder, based off of the situation at quarterback with Carson Wentz, if they do go after Pitts, do you think that it's a statement to Carson Wentz like, hey, we know you love the tight ends. We know it's your safety blanket. We're trying to fix you. Why not get you a piece that makes you feel more comfortable? Although, look, with the wide receiver, I guess it's a similar statement. But I do feel it's different with the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're in that position. You're not necessarily thinking of the quarterback. You're thinking of getting the best player available that's going to help your team. And he's certainly a blue chip player. Like I said, I've always been a proponent of fortifying the lines, whether it be the offensive or defensive line. If Panay Sewell's there, the offensive tackle from Oregon, I certainly think he deserves some consideration. Any of those, wide receiver, tight end, tackle, that's going to help any quarterback, regardless of whether it's Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz, doesn't matter. But I do think that given the philosophy of the coaching staff, I think it'll be centered around an offensive player.
What about Pitts would be exciting if they were to get him? And to you, is he the clear top tight end in the class?
Yeah, it's not even close. He's the top tight end in the class. And what should excite fans if he was going to be the pick, Mike, would be the mismatches, and you're going to see that in the Super Bowl with Travis Kelce. Those are the type of things that Kyle Pitts can do for the Eagles. He's more explosive than Goddard, which is kind of amazing to say because Goddard's explosive in his own right, but he's got more of a vertical element to his game. He can make things happen after the catch. He can turn cornerbacks around with his route running. He's very polished and refined, and you don't really see that a lot of times with NFL tight ends. And like I said, you can't view Kyle Pitts as just a tight end. That's just a label. But when you look at his film and you can see the wide array of skill sets that he has, you have to be enamored with that.
Yeah, obviously this is all hypothetical due to the mock draft, but how much influence do you think someone like Brian Johnson would have on the selection if they do go down that road, considering he coached at Florida?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think that would be his words would weigh a lot in the room, because he's going to know what kind of guy is this in the locker room. What are his strengths? How can you best utilize him to the offense's advantage? What does he need to work on? What should we be harping on from day one with him? What weight do we want to see him play at? Because he's a little bit of a lighter tight end than the mold of a Trey Burton. These are all different, unique insights that Brian Johnson has that I certainly think will be a factor when the evaluation process is taking place and in that war room.
Now, let me ask you, Andrew, do you like Pitts better than any of the 3 wide receivers?
To an extent I do, because I like the big-bodied option. I like the fact of having a guy that you can move around, that you don't just have to put in the slot, or you don't just have to put on the outside. He just adds to the you get a guy like Jalen Reagor in space. You get Kyle Pitts and you move him around. You have Dallas Goedert. I think that these are the type of players that would really fit with a Nick Sirianni offense. Just from a versatility standpoint, I think it just makes the offense run that much more smooth. And if you want to get as many good players, obviously, as you can, not saying, obviously, that Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase aren't, but I think Kyle Pitts is a plug-and-play guy from day one. He's ready to go. He's polished. He's very refined from a route running standpoint. Can't say that with Jamar Chase at this stage of where he's at in the pre-draft process. So, if I had to go that route, if you're asking me between the three receivers and him, I would probably go Kyle Pitts. But ultimately, I would lean towards offensive line if it were me.
Yeah, I know a lot of the fans bring up Smith and Chase, but when it comes to that six pick, if it is Waddle available, like what do you see in him that would be intriguing or something that would maybe shy you away from someone like Waddle? And maybe it's the injury, but what do you think about that?
Well, the one thing that would kind of steer me away, and listen, Waddle is a very explosive, dynamic talent in his own right. I think that taking him at 6 would be a bit of a reach, to be honest with you. I do think that he's probably a top 12 talent, but I think that if they were to trade down and pick up another pick, he would still be there. The injuries scare you away a little bit. I think he's more of a complete receiver than some of the other two guys. But given the Eagles' history with injuries and things like that, I think that you have to go. You're going to be at least hesitant to go that route, especially at pick number 6. When I think that even Kyle Pitts, to be honest with you, at 6 to me would be a reach. I think he's a top 10 guy, no doubt, but I think there's a little bit more value with a player like Kyle Pitts for his versatility.
Yeah, Andrew DiCecco, Football at 4 here, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Yeah, I like Pitts, and I agree that the intrigue is there. Like, that is something that would be intriguing to add, especially, well, obviously, if you let Ertz go. If you had Ertz, that pick would be out the window. But if what Pitt's skill set brings, that would be a message that we're trying to give, to me anyway, Andrew, see if you agree. We're trying to give a comfort zone to Carson Wentz. Like, the top receiver on the Eagles during the Wentz era has been the tight end every single year. It was either Ertz or Goddard. One year they were the top 2. So that message to me is we are doing everything we can to make him comfortable.
Well, any little move that the Eagles make, it's going to be, everyone's going to scrutinize and say, was that move catered to Carson Wentz or was that more catered to Jalen Hurts? Adding a tight end to an offense, a top-level tight end, is going to help any quarterback. Quarterbacks tend to lean that way, especially when dealing with pressure. It's good to have that security blanket over the middle. Look at Donovan McNabb. Chad Lewis was one of his main targets. Quarterbacks all over. Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes always goes to Travis Kelce. It's just having a guy that can work the middle of the field, take advantage of linebackers and safeties that they don't have either the length or the athleticism to keep up with these guys. It's going to make a quarterback more comfortable. So, it doesn't matter. Like, I think if they were to go with him, it still would be, a reach to say, oh, this was more with this move was made with Carson Wentz in mind. I think that would help any quarterback.
Let's say they don't get a tight end. Let's say they don't go the route of Pitts. If they move on from Ertz as well, do you think Goddard and, I'm just hypothetically speaking, Rodgers again is a good enough duo? Because when Rodgers played last year, there were moments where he was getting 60 yards or so in a game, and he kind of rejuvenated himself a bit. Is that enough?
I don't necessarily know if it's going to be enough. Yes, he certainly showed that he can perform at a high level. I don't know if he can do that for a full slate of games. He has suffered a number of injuries over the past few seasons. There's going to be a guy, is a homegrown guy, Kenny Yeboah. He's from Allentown. He played at Temple. He transferred to Ole Miss. He was in the Senior Bowl. He's a guy that I really like. He's a guy that I'm going to be talking to early in the pre-draft process here. He's another guy that I think can be a 4th or 5th round player that can also create mismatches and things like that if you don't want to necessarily invest blue chip talent, a high draft capital pick on a tight end and that high. There's going to be other options there to get some of these guys. So I don't know that you can go into the season with just Richard Rodgers as the primary backup to Dallas Goedert, because both players have a lengthy injury history.
Yeah, and I know that one thing for sure is the wide receiver room is going to be kind of interesting. You talk about the tight ends, but for the first time for 2 straight years, Andrew, they're going to have the same wide receiver coach, a little bit of continuity there. And this is going to be a really interesting wide receiver room if they don't take a wide receiver at number 6. So, what they have left here, do they have to add to it, or is this young crew something that with Moorhead for the second year that you would be intrigued to bring back as is?
I think they need to add another big-bodied receiver because obviously J.J. Arcega-Whiteside has not really panned out, and you don't want to go into the season assuming that this is going to be the year that he turns the corner, because if you don't do that, then it becomes a house of cards, and you have a lot of guys that are playing out of position, and you're forcing a lot of guys to do things they're not necessarily accustomed to doing, much like you saw this year when they put all the eggs in the Deshaun Jackson and the J-Jar basket. I think if they could add a big-bodied guy, I don't know that you need to invest a premium pick in a player like that. And I do think that they have some pieces there that it would be nice to see how Aaron Moorhead can build on what he's already worked with these guys on with the full offseason. With your Quez Watkins, who kind of resembles, who can have maybe somewhat of a T.Y. Hilton role in this offense, perhaps. You have Jalen Reagor, who's going to have another full offseason. John Hightower. You want to see what you have in these guys, and you want to let these guys develop instead of having to completely, sweep the room and get a new guys in there. And you really need to see what you have. And I without having to completely overhaul it, I think you can stand to add another player. But let's see what you have there first. And given they're going to have a normal offseason, second year receiver coach for the first time in a long time, let's see what Aaron Moorhead can do and get the most out of these guys.
All right. Now, what did you think? I mean, because they kept changing the receiver, how do you read into how the receiver coach has done, or they've been scapegoats?
Well, you can look. It's unique. Every situation is unique because with Greg Lewis, I thought, he was a little bit young, but he was able to go to a situation with the Chiefs where they had a little bit more talent there. But as Jeff outlined, the good players didn't regress, and the younger players, the backup players, they kind of saw their roles elevate, and they kind of elevated their play. And I think Greg Lewis could have been given another year, but there's a guy like a Hunter Brewer who I don't believe I think that was solely on the coach, the guy who came in from UNC, Matt Collins, the wide receiver coach. Carson Walsh, it was evident that it was the coaching with him. It wasn't working out. Didn't have the command of the room. Mike Rowe was the best wide receiver coach that they had. But in the case of Aaron Moorhead, some people like change just for the sole purpose of change. You have to really look at beneath the surface. What was Aaron Moorhead kind of dealt with? The shortened offseason, a very young receiver room where the veteran players were injured for most of the season. A lot of this stuff was done virtually. He didn't have a lot of time with these guys, but towards the end of the season, you started to see some of the light come on for some of these guys, like a Quez Watkins, like a Jalen Reagor. And you kind of just want to build on that, because if you keep shuffling through coaches, that reflects very poorly on the front office, and it's not always on coaching. You can certainly point to that in some areas. Ken Flagel and Corey Unlin in the past, and there's many examples, but Aaron Moorhead's not one of them.
Speaking of coaches, now that we heard from Sirianni a couple more times, any new thoughts, any different feelings? I did stumble upon a clip of him speaking in the locker room to the Colts. It made me feel a little bit more comfortable. It felt like he was more comfortable in his natural habitat. But has anything changed in terms of how you feel about him?
Well, I've kind of always perceived him to be a high-energy guy, more so. I don't like to read into pressers too much. You like to see how the players respond and how training camps run, and you'd like to see the rotation of players and kind of just his offensive design and philosophy. That's really what I base it off of. And yesterday, what really struck me when he spoke on WIP, Nick Sirianni, he mentioned competition. That was something that he called a core value, something that he plans on harping on. But my question to you guys is, if you are going to move forward with Carson Wentz, you heard him mention competition at all positions. Given the stories that have come out about Carson Wentz's ego and entitlement and ability and his knack for undermining coaches, do you really think he's going to be all in on a quarterback competition in the summer?
I would imagine that's going to be a tough sell, right? I mean, don't you guys think
Absolutely.
That's a tough sell, that you're going to tell Carson Wentz, hey, you got to beat out, or that it's going to be an open and fair competition with Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I mean, and this is coming from a rookie head coach, a very young coaching staff. You're having that's his boss now. You're saying, hey, look, this is what it's going to be. Given the sensitive nature of Carson Wentz, I think that would be a tough sell for him. And, it's kind of hard for me to fathom him wanting to be like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I'm ready to take on the challenge and see where it goes.
I think that would be a tough sell for sure. Andrew DiCecco, Football at 4, competition is what Sirianni has brought up, a couple times. He brought it up with John Clark on NBC as well, NBC Sports Philly, when he talked about it. And he also acknowledged, guys, that he did not do a good job at the press conference. And he kind of made light of it. I don't know if you guys caught this, but he said, I need to go back and watch the tape. I'm going to have to go back and see but he kind of made light of the fact that he understood he did not do a good job. And I can appreciate that, right? I mean, that's something I can appreciate is, hey, I didn't nail that press conference, but next time I'll do better.
Yeah, I mean, self-reflection, being honest with yourself, being able to evaluate and know where you could improve as a coach or how you presented yourself. Self-awareness is a very it's an uncommon trait that you would think that a lot of people in a leadership role would have, but he definitely was able to evaluate where he went wrong and improve on that. He seemed a lot more comfortable on air. Of course, he's not in front of a room or in front of a bunch of people on a Zoom conference this time, but I mean, just like I always say with everything, let things play out. I'm never one to snap to a premature judgment on a certain topic or player or situation. Just let it play out. The guy has the tools. He was selected for a reason. Let's see what he can do this offseason and how things sort of shake out.
Football 4 with Andrew DiCecco. A lot of draft stuff, as we talked about. The mock draft that was just put out by NFL.com has the Eagles taking a tight end, which was kind of shocking. I was like, whoa, that's a little outside the box there. But, man, would that be intriguing there. At this point right now, we'll kind of keep checking in with you, Andrew, on this is at this point, which way are you leaning with 6? Because, okay, are you leaning with a player at 6 or are you more advantageous to moving out of that spot?
Well, that's a good question because it depends on how the board falls. I'm not one for reaching. If you really like Kyle Pitts, let's say, well, you can stand to drop down a few spots, pick up another pick, and get a Kyle Pitts, maybe even get a late first round pick, get a J.C. Horn, a cornerback from South Carolina. That's great value right there. But if you're sitting there and you see the Dolphins take a Devontae Smith and the Bengals maybe take a Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell falls to you at 6, I say you hang tight, grab that tackle, and let it work, let it play itself out in training camp. Figure out where you're going to put him because this is going to be an All-Pro, a stalwart left tackle for your franchise, and those guys, when you have a chance to get them, you have to because they're not very common. So. I know that you have Jordan Mailata. I understand you have Andre Dillard there, but if you have a chance to get someone like that in your locker room, into your building, and mold him with Jeff Stoutland, nonetheless, you go ahead and do that.
So, would you say you've given up on Andre Dillard?
Yes. I mean, I think in my opinion, he was a little bit older when he was drafted. You have to have a certain mindset, a certain physical toughness. He hasn't really exhibited that. Certainly, to me, seemed like the coaches sort of were a little bit down on him. He may project as a guard for all we know, but I think that left tackle, that blindside protector for your quarterback, I don't necessarily know that that's his makeup at the NFL level.
Do you think that teams around the league might look at him as a former first-round pick, and it's not like offensive line play is so stellar around the league where maybe there's a little bit of value there, or do you think that other teams are looking at him kind of the same way the Eagles might be?
It's interesting because I do think that there's going to be, all it takes is one team out there to say, you know what, let this guy be our recreation project. The Eagles get, I don't know, a 4th-round pick they get a 4th-round pick for Andre Dillard. He hasn't really proven anything at this level, suffered from an injury. So I think there'll be a team that, if they do go that route, that they might be able to kind of mold him into the player that many envisioned that he was going to be when he came out of Washington State. But I don't know if the Eagles are in any position right now to be able to afford to be able to give up offensive line depth, given how things have sort of transpired over the last couple of seasons.
All right, Andrew DiCecco, football at 4 at A DiCecco NFL. Don't forget, the NFL draft will be all over that. The Super Bowl, we'll get Andrew's thoughts on that game on Thursday when he's back with us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline for another edition of Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast here on the Sports Bash. All right, Andrew, take care, pal.
Yeah, man. Be well, guys.
You do the same. And Andrew DiCecco, like all guys, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. He's brought to you by Dr. Lyle M. Back for everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Go to ilovelylback.com or call 856-MAKEOVER for Dr. Lyle M. Back. It is a proud sponsor of Football at 4 here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. So he likes Pitts, but doesn't sound like he would be like, yes. But he did say he likes him better than some of those wideouts.
Yeah, it's almost like he said something where I don't know if I feel the opposite. It's interesting. He said, I'm not going to reach for a guy. I'd rather trade down. But it's almost like if you feel that confident about a guy, why mess around? Like, go get your guy if you feel that strongly about someone. So I feel like
you can't say that to the Eagles fan base, though, who has no faith in Howie Roseman.
Right. Well, I was thinking, imagine if Howie traded down and then someone ends up getting snagged right before him, and he's like, "Oh, what am I going to do now?"
Now, a trade down. If you traded down and ended up with Pitts, say like 12.
Oh yeah, I feel definitely better about it for sure. I mean, I'm not against. I even told you this. I'm not against trading down at all. I mean, this team has so many holes where if you go that route, that's fine with me. It's just about execution.
All right, Sports Bash coming up. John Clayton, the professor, will get his take on Super Bowl 55 and that Goff trade. What does it mean for the Eagles and their ability to trade Carson Wentz? We'll get his reaction on that with NFL insider John Clayton from the Washington Post, who will join us, of course, on the other side. And don't forget, you can watch the show live on our website, 973ESPN.com. Simple to do. Go to 973ESPN.com. When you get to the page, you'll see the link to watch the Sports Bash live. Click on that, and you'll see the player right there. And you can watch today's show and every day's show. The Sports Bash game night, the locker room, Sports Bash Saturday. All you need to do is have Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Most people in the world have one of those 3 avenues to watch us. So don't forget to bookmark the page and watch the show every day. The Sports Bash live on our website, 973ESPN.com. We're back with NFL insider John Clayton from the Washington Post. Coming up next.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tomorrow night for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos. Number 3, St. Joseph against number 7, St. Augustine in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11 Wildwood Catholic in Ocean City from the Dixie Hal Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe's, St. Augustine tomorrow, Wildwood Catholic Ocean City on Friday. Both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
Let's face it, football fans, 2020 was kind of like... But Unibet Sportsbook is betting 2021 is going to be a bit more like... And it starts with a big game. Sign up for $20 free today, $21 on game day, and 2 $250 risk-free bets. Let's do 2021 better. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in New Jersey. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Are you one of the millions of Americans who experience occasional bloating, gas, or abdominal discomfort? Join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up and see how healthy your gut can feel. Align contains a quality probiotic strain developed by gastroenterologists. It adds more good bacteria to your gut to naturally help soothe your occasional digestive upsets with continued daily usage. This is the time to join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Sign up at alignprobiotics.com.
When we adopted Buddy, who is a lab, we didn't know that he can't eat like a normal dog. He has to eat sitting up. The vet said just put him down. His life expectancy maximum is 3 years. Well, he's 6 years old now, and I attribute most of that to Dinovite and a lot of love. DINOVITE.com. I heard about Dinovite on the radio and started mixing it in with his food, and it's changed everything. Dinovite is nutrition. Yes, he has a nice shiny coat. Yes, it helps with keeping a good, healthy weight on him. He's happy, he's healthy, and he's going to be with me for a long time because of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
We take him to the vet now, and they can't believe it. I love my dog. I want him happy and healthy, so I give him Dynavite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynavite from DINOVITE.com.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo. Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et tu viens tu.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Let's start with all the people smitten by a certain sweetheart. Now narrow it to all those lovebirds who kind of let Valentine's Day sneak up on them and need to woo this sweetheart in a hurry. For you, you romantic but forgetful Cupid, Walgreens has great gifts for pickup in as little as 30 minutes. So whether it's a card and a box of candy or a bottle of perfume, Walgreens helps you get sweet gifts in a heartbeat. Aww.
This week, select Russell Stover chocolates are buy one, get one free. Of equal or lesser price, restrictions apply to pickup. See walgreens.com/pickup for details.
Guys, breakfast.
How do you do it?
The kids or everything else?
Hey, are those
new phones? Got 2 truly unlimited lines from Walmart Family Mobile. Tea's ready. With no contract. Pass the toast. Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead.
You are amazing.
And your boss is calling.
Get 2 truly unlimited lines with 30 gigabyte hotspot per line for under $75 a month. Powered by T-Mobile. Walmart Family Mobile. Stay a step ahead. HD video streaming up to 720p. See terms and conditions at myfamilymobile.com. Available at Walmart.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, Sports Bash is back and live with you. You can watch the show live on our website, 97.3ESPN.com. It's brought to you by Matt Blatt Nissan. The all-new Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot online, mattblattnissan.com. We're going to talk with John Clayton, NFL insider from the Washington Post, longtime NFL columnist. And, of course, this season we've had him on. We've got a lot of ups and downs and talked about a lot of stories, but now we've reached the Super Bowl and very interested to get John's take on this game. I think it's a very – Brodes, as this game has gone on and we continue to kind of like talk about things and uncover different storylines, I think it's kind of an interesting game, especially the thing we talked about with Sal Pal earlier. Andy Reid against Todd Bowles, the two of them coached together. Bowles has kind of been making another name for himself. Remember, he was the head coach with the Jets. That didn't go so well. He just interviewed with the Eagles. So some very interesting storylines as we get ready for Super Bowl 55. We're going to check out John's take on this game and much more right now here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline with NFL insider John Clayton here on the Sports Bash from the Washington Post. John, welcome back. How you been?
Doing well. We the good news is, as of yesterday, we finally, since September, had the first chance of indoor dining since September. So we got 25% capacity. So now, we can dine indoors as opposed to trying to find a tent that has 5 tables and a heater.
That's out in Washington State, correct? So the people here in Jersey who have been mad, just think about that. We have been allowed to eat indoors, but it's very limited, like 25%. So it's really hard to do, but that's crazy to hear. So, John, obviously in Tampa, they got different rules. They've been eating inside and outside and doing whatever the heck they want down there. But some of the questions that you have for this Super Bowl, number one, I would imagine you take a look at this. The quarterbacks. This might be the greatest quarterback matchup that the Super Bowl has ever had.
Yeah, because you have the old GOAT, who Tom Brady, going against potentially the next GOAT. in Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, can you ever remember a time where you can see a matchup like that? Because, you go through the years and, one quarterback emerges, whether it was Joe Montana, whether it was John Elway. But to have, one that's already certain in Tom Brady, and now you have potentially the next one in Patrick Mahomes. And what was great to see is that we actually were able to watch the fact that they actually played against each other this year. And Patrick Mahomes had the big advantage. He jumped off to a 17-0 lead. He passed for 462 yards and 3 touchdown passes to Tyreek Hill. And then, 17-0 in the first quarter with 2 touchdown passes to Hill. And the next thing you know, here comes Tom Brady trying to climb back and at least made it a 3-point game at 27-24.
John, obviously, Brady is towards the end of the line here, and Mahomes is at the beginning. But I guess I want to know, is Tom Brady still playing at this ridiculous high level? When you watch him, because everybody's, Brady or Belichick, and Belichick's team is at, and Brady's in the Super Bowl again. But are the Buccaneers here because Tom Brady is playing at that level?
Well, it's not like he's playing as well as Mahomes, and you can see that he's had some bad incidents at different points. Like, for example, you go back and he had the one stretch where he had 3 interceptions, on a 3-series drive that was in the New Orleans game, and that obviously isn't good. But he's been able to survive that. But the fact that he's been able to guide this team, and really since mid-season, he's actually done pretty well. And what's amazing, that's one of the great parts about this matchup, is that Tom Brady when he went there, did not want to do the no risk it, no biscuit type of things that Bruce Arians wants, throwing the ball downfield. But now what you have is 2 of the top 3 teams in the league as far as throwing 21-yard air balls. And Brady's thrown 69, and Mahomes has thrown 70. I mean, these are 2 of the best in the league. And then you see as the season went on, particularly like last week, they were able to get Tom Brady to complete 3 passes that sailed 21 plus yards in the air. So that's kind of corrected himself. And so, I mean, he didn't have a Pro Bowl season, but he was good enough to win the games, particularly in the playoffs.
What do you think the role will be for the running backs, considering, you're talking about Tom Brady and throwing the football? How about that running back game?
I think it's going to be minimized. It was minimized in the first one, and part of that was because Kansas City had jumped off to the 17-0 lead, and basically Tom only had about 12 handoffs to running backs. And so, and you look at the nature of these 2 teams, and that's kind of the ironic part, because you saw the trend through the playoffs that the playoff teams were involved with the run a little bit more than anybody expected. Like Green Bay, for example, they had 45% runs, 55% pass. That was 7th best as far as the number of running chances that they've taken. But now what you look at, these are the 2 teams that of the playoff teams of the 14 that were at the bottom, because they're both 60-40 pass teams. And so there wasn't much running in the first one. There wasn't much running in the championship game. I don't think there's going to be much running. And so what I would say is that Leonard Fournette might end up having the best running day, but it's only going to probably be something like 52 yards on 16 carries.
John, I know one of the storylines we just mentioned right before you jumped on, you got Andy Reid, of course, in his innovative offense, but Todd Bowles had a tremendous game plan through all this, and you wonder if Bowles can kind of slow down Andy Reid's, track speed offense.
Well, here's going to be the problem, and that's why I think he's going to have to make some major adjustments, because if Todd Bowles did what he did in the 27-24 game, it's going to have the same results, because, he tried to match up his best cornerback, Carlton Davis, on Tyreek Hill. Well, Tyreek Hill ended up with 13 catches, 260-plus yards, and 3 touchdowns, and most of those came against Carlton Davis. So the one thing that he did in that game is have more cover 1 with man. I think he's going to need more cover 3, because he's got to find a second guy to get over there to double cover Tyreek Hill, because if not, Hill is so fast. Davis is a 4.52 guy. He's not going to stay up with the running ability of Tyreek Hill and now the improved route running. So I think he's going to be the one to make the adjustment. On the positive side, though, he is going to have an advantage on the pass rush, because the Chiefs are down their top 2 tackles. They don't have Eric Fisher, who went to the Pro Bowl this year because of the torn Achilles. Mitchell Schwartz is not going to be able to play. He's on injured reserve. And so things are kind of so shaky there that Mike Remmers, who was filling in for Schwartz, moves over to left tackle. And Jason Pierre-Paul was asked about Mike Remmers yesterday and said, I don't even know who he is. Who's Mike Remmers? Who is this guy? And you saw last week with David Bakhtiari out that, they ended up the Bucs getting 5 sacks, 8 quarterbacks hits on Aaron Rodgers. And so you figure Mahomes is going to get sacked several times.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up, John, they blitzed Rodgers. Can you blitz Mahomes the same way that they did last week against Green Bay? And I guess the big question is, can they overcome the loss of Fisher at left tackle and blitz as much as they did? That could be the big difference in this game. Fisher, they have so many stars and names in the offensive high power, but we look at the simple offensive line, and if Tampa can get after them, that might be the difference in this game, Fisher being out.
Yeah, very well could be because, there's going to be some problems because they had to take Andrew Wiley, one of their guards, and put him over at the right tackle spot with Stefan Wisniewski now coming, off the bench in the practice squad to be at the guard position. So, it's like this is a little bit tougher than even what Green Bay had because, again, they had lost one guy in Bakhtiari, but now you've got 2 guys down for the Chiefs. And so my guess is they're probably going to have to play a little bit more 2 tight end to have an extra body there to help block.
How would you describe the Arians-Brady relationship? Because it is very unique.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think that it was a struggle at first because Brady was a little reluctant to do the no risk it, no biscuit type policy. And certainly he had to be kind of stunned at how open and honest and sometimes pointing Arians can be in his press conferences because he doesn't hold anything back. Well, in Bill Belichick, he hardly says anything. So it's like that has to be different. But I think the relationship warmed up because I think he continued to warm up as the season went on as far as how his adjustment to the offense. And, I think he appreciated the fact that he asked for Antonio Brown. He got Antonio Brown. And even though right now he's still questionable with that knee injury, he has helped a little bit. So I think the relationship has gone pretty well and should continue into next year.
John Clayton's with us. Check out his 4 big questions for Super Bowl 55. He goes in depth on this game over at thewashingtonpost.com. John, I want to get your take as well. You're out there in Seattle, close to the Seahawks. There's a new quarterback in that division. They gave up a bundle to get Matthew Stafford, did the Rams. But what was your take on that trade? And then I guess to localize it for us, does that help or hurt your chances of trading Carson Wentz if you're the Eagles?
Yeah, I think what it does is that certainly Ian improves their offense because Sean McVay just gave up on Jared Goff. He thought it was a lost cause. And so he wanted to unload the contract, unload the player. And so he gets a better quarterback in Matthew Stafford who can do more things than Jared Goff and not have to be overcoached to get things right. But here's where the problem is. We're getting more information about the cap, and we don't know if the cap's going to be 180 or 185 million, but we know the cap's going to be tight. And so now here are the Rams with $42.2 million in dead money for McVay, for Goff, and also for the salary, a $20 million salary of Matthew Stafford. And so that's 23.4% of the cap right now tied up on basically one quarterback position, one there, one gone. And they have key free agents to try to re-sign. And that put them at $35 million over the $180 million cap. That's 3rd worst in the league, right ahead of Philadelphia, who's at 80, and you got the Saints at 100. So now the question is going to be, who are they going to cut? How are they going to restructure contracts? And who are they going to lose in free agency? Because you're looking at a team that, believe it or not, 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, they've lost 8 starters on defense. They only have 3 starters left, and one of them is John Johnson, who's a free agent and a real good safety. And there's only 24 players who are on the Super Bowl that are still left on the 53-man roster. And that's, again, a roster that is only 2 years old past the Super Bowl. So you kind of wonder, is change going to start to bring them down because it's going to be a less talented team next year, even though they're going to be better at quarterback? And I do think it's going to help the Wentz thing because you can see teams were willing to spend good draft choice capital and maybe even good players to be able to do something. And Indy is going to be one of the most aggressive teams in trying to do something with. We'll see about San Francisco, but no, I think it keeps the Wentz situation still alive for a trade.
Yeah, and as you know, John, it seems that this is going to be a wild offseason for quarterback movement.
Oh, the wildest I can ever imagine. And really, I compare it to one of those things we see in the NBA every 4 years is that you have all these top free agents coming up, and they're either going to leave, get contracts re-signed, or be traded. And we see this in the NBA, and now you've got the star power. But what's going to be so fascinating is it's coming at a time that the cap's going down, and you're going to have, if all these quarterbacks get moved, or some of them get moved, most teams are going to have $40 million tied up like the Rams in 2 players, but 1 gone.
John Clayton, it's the offseason, but the Super Bowl's for who do you like, John?
I like Kansas City. I think I just like Mahomes. I like the star power. Again, they're going to have problems blocking the Bucs defense, but I think that there's a big advantage with the speed at wide receiver and the play of Patrick Mahomes that should give them the edge.
Should be a good one. We're looking forward to it.
By the way,
what's the score?
34-31.
34-31. Some fireworks in Tampa. There'll be 22,000 people, 30,000 cutouts, by the way, at the Super Bowl. John Clayton, the Washington Post. And, of course, as all-season stuff happens, make sure you follow him at John Clayton NFL. And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. We always love catching up with you, John. We appreciate your time as always.
Okay, thanks.
All right, John Clayton here, everybody, on the Sports Bash. And John likes 34-31. Gives the score and everything. I like that. Putting his neck out there, Brodes.
Yeah, when he said that, my eyes went up a little. That's a high-scoring Super Bowl, no?
I am all for that. A lot of fun. The point that he brought up, though, about Fisher being out, they got 2 offensive linemen out in this game. And Sal Pal brought it up earlier. Bowles has been blitzing. Could be the difference. Those 2 offensive linemen being out might be the difference in this game. And nobody likes to talk about offensive linemen because you're in the Super Bowl and it's glamour, glitz, glamour, skill position, especially for the Chiefs.
No doubt about it. Yeah, JPP, Shaq. I mean, you can bring all the blitzes you want, but I'm just talking about just their upfront pressure. They're going to go to work, and they're going to be able to look, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be easier than with those guys in for sure.
Hey, yesterday, Doc Rivers was named Coach of the Month. Today, another Sixer won an award. We have the details coming up right here on the Sports Bash Live. Don't forget, watch the show on our website, 973ESPN.com.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate the old part of the Nissan. At Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. For non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Negative equity will be refinanced to the new vehicle. Get all the details at mattblattnissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5510 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5510. Enjoy.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear.
No one is funnier than you. People laugh just thinking about the things you've said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you tell them, and shame on them for trying. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo. Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et du viens-tu?
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com, BABBEL.com.
Order! Continue, Miss Garner. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day.
Objection! My credit card doesn't earn double miles on every purchase.
I object to your objection. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase. Order. Please read Counselor's last statement.
With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase.
I'll allow it. No further questions, Your Honor. Well, just one. What's in your wallet?
Capital One Bank USA N.A.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
So Joel Embiid has been named the NBA's Eastern Conference Player of the Month. Yesterday, it was Doc Rivers who was the Coach of the Month. He joins Brett Brown, Larry Brown, Billy Cunningham, Jim Lynam as Sixer coaches who have been named Coach of the Month. How about that? Brett Brown was a Coach of the Month one time. As bad as he was, by many people's accounts, they actually made him the Coach of the Month one time. And Joel Embiid wins the award for the 76ers, and he joins interesting company as well. He joins Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, Moses Malone, and Dr. J as the only players to win the award multiple times. So some good stuff there from Joel Embiid. Player of the Month there, Brodes.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. He's must-watch television every single night. Watching him, I think Kevin Kincaid, the way he described it, it's unreal that we get to sit him and watch him play the way that he's playing this season, and I just can't wait to see it continue to progress. I mean, he definitely tapped into his potential this season more than ever, but I still think there's more, and it's scary to think that, and I can't wait to see that, because there is still another step I think he can take. Do you agree?
Yes, I do, but I do feel that, like Kevin said, the biggest difference in this team is the readiness of Embiid to win.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, we've been stressing that a lot. It's like when you get a certain age in this league, it's a grown man's league for a reason. Yeah. You take that step when you're about 27. That's that first real leap, and he's in that window.
Hey, look, anybody who's been out there who's ever coached, when you coach a kid who's 13, and then he goes to 14, and you're like, wow, this guy's way better than he was. And then when he's 15, you're like, my God, like that jump from 13 to 15, you're like, holy mackerel, this is like a different person. And then from 15 to, say, 18, well, just think of Joel Embiid being like 21 when he got into the league, 22. Now he's like 27, I think. 27. Yeah. That gap of maturity is astronomical. And I think you're seeing the Sixers' young stars who had, look, I had been saying this for a couple of years, Brodes. Not too many teams. Your best two players are also your youngest two players. That's what the Sixers were up against the last couple of years. Because of how they built their team going through this process, they had these two great talents, but they were also their youngest two players.
And that's an issue. By the way, Joel Embiid is 26 years old, so he's a little bit younger than 26. He's got another year to keep adding at it. But yeah, now, and I think the way that you see his ability to get to certain spots on the floor, I think he's way more comfortable. If he gets the ball out by the perimeter, he finds ways to get to the area on the low block. He'll take that mid-range jumper. It's like he's way more knowledgeable of the game now to start out somewhere on the floor, but work his way to where he wants to be and to operate there. I think that has really shown the progression in his game.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Joel, to me, Joel is at that point where I can now say, where in the past I'd say, look, he's just not mature enough. He's just not ready to win. You were frustrated because he's so talented, but I don't think he was ready to win here. I think he has gotten to the level now where Joel Embiid is ready to win. He's ready to be the best player on the best team.
I agree with you. And it's I just wonder, is he ahead of everybody else, and does he need to wait? Because like with Ben, he's 24. Do we need to wait for him?
That might be the case. That's enough to get you from the second round to the finals, but is it enough to get you from the second round to the NBA final? I should say from the second round to the Eastern Conference finals. But he might need the rest of the guys to catch up to him. So you might advance from out of the second round this year because of that, but it might not be enough to get you all the way to the NBA finals and ultimately win a championship. But I think it shows that you're on that path.
Now, I would absolutely be okay with that philosophy. The problem is with this fan base, imagine if they watch Joel Embiid carry you to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then Ben comes up small because he's not ready yet, and then the frustration would really intensify more than it has in the years past, just because it's like, hey, they're holding Joel Embiid back from the... I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying I think that'll be the reaction.
Well, it's a possibility that might be what happens, is in the end, those guys might not be ready, and that might be why you come up short, because Brooklyn has three guys who you would say are ready. All three of those guys, or two of them have won a championship already, and James Harden, right?
Yeah.
And Milwaukee has a bunch of guys who have gone through the pain of losing multiple times. Have they learned enough from that for that to be enough? Because Antetokounmpo has come up small in these situations, and that group of guys. Did they add enough around Giannis to get that done? So I think it's a very interesting. I think that's something we can kind of talk about in the next is this Eastern Conference. All of these teams have an interesting storyline, but I think the Sixers with Joel Embiid is Jason Tatum there? Is he ready? Is he like at that point where he's ready? We'll continue the conversation on the other side.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Setting him up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision he'll never regret, unlike taking that gig in the testing lab at the deodorant company.
Raise your arm, please. Oh, man, I hate this job.
Pretty regrettable, Gary. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at Amerisave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. Amerisave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to Amerisave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit Amerisave.com/licensing for cost information, terms, and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
Buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you pay for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Yeah, hang on. This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at me.
East Coast today at 609-646-1444. Online at eastcoastroofing.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media, South Jersey.
The radio home of the 76ers.
Oh, man, get excited.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJHD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, final hour of the show as we drive you home on a Tuesday. Don't forget, tomorrow, Sarah Spain, Jason Fitz will join us. Also, Zuba Mahente, as we'll have a little ESPN lineup fun. Thursday show, Anthony Beck, Ryan Leaf, Joe Valerio, former Chiefs tackle, played with Joe Montana. He's got a great story about his connection with Andy Reid. That's on Thursday show. Friday, we'll talk to Sal Pal, Adam Kaplan. By the way, Ken Rogers is also on Thursday's show. He is the producer for the new 30 for 30 on Al Davis. And that debuts on Thursday night. This is the Sports Bash. And don't forget, you can watch the show live on our website, 973ESPN.com. We appreciate the people who have been watching each and every day. And for the new people out there, we appreciate you too. And if you haven't found us yet, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, you can watch the show live. It's easy to do. Go to our website, 973ESPN.com. So Pete Thompson's here. It's a Tuesday with Thompson. The PT's in the house as we got a lot of things to go over with Pete Thompson as he joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Peter, how are you?
Good. Brodes, Mike, how are you? Happy Tuesday, boys. I assume you didn't get, well, Brodes, you might have got snowed in a little bit.
Oh, I did. That's why I'm here at home today. I got plastered.
Brodes is not in the studio today because he sent me that text. Would it be cool if I just did the show from here and then he sends me the picture like afterwards, the follow-up? And I was like, well, what am I going to say to that?
Yeah, it wasn't the lead punch. It was the second punch, right, Brodes?
That's how you got to do it.
Yeah, I heard it was bad. I mean, it's all wet down here. I heard Gill, I heard you talking the other day, MG, about how they always threaten that it's going to be something really bad, and it turns out just to be rain or whatever. I mean, but I feel, hey, the people that are north into the west of us really got it.
Yep, I did see people a little bit north of us got a little bit more than we did, but as usual, we didn't get very much down here. Just a little wet roads, a little rainy. My drive to work today was perfectly done. Hat tip to the people clearing off our streets down there and everything. They always do a great job, and I appreciate that. My drive is not very far, but it was nice and cleared off. All right, Peter. So we got a lot we want to dive into here on this Tuesday with Thompson. Let's start off with – why don't we start off with the Sixers and the difference in this team? Because last year it was painful. It was a bad year. It was painful. And we were just kind of riffing about, Doc Rivers just won the Coach of the Year or the Coach of the Month. Joel Embiid just won the Eastern Conference Player of the Month. And Brodes and I both are under we were having this conversation. We had it with Kevin Kincaid earlier. The biggest difference about this team is the readiness to win from Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Joel's been a man, an absolute man, a monster, a beast, whatever word you want to say. And I even tweeted out the other night, I couldn't believe that they won. I'd basically written them off for dead. I leaned toward hockey first anyway, so I was watching the hockey game, kind of taking a glance at the Sixers game. And, you look at a Sixers team and you see that they're down, 19 points or something like that, or 16 points with less than 9 minutes left. They're down 16. You think, no way they're going to win this game. So you sort of write them off, and it's a credit to the fact that, Joel Embiid was not in that game, and they were able to have the other guys step up and win. And that resiliency, I mean, I know Brodes doesn't like it, but Furkan, the people were going nuts about Furkan stepping up. It just, to me, says their depth is more. Obviously, the coaching is more. I got a little choked up when I saw Doc Rivers say that we went to a John Chaney defense. We went to a zone. They had no idea what hit them. They didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, it's obvious that, the other night they had to do something a little gimmicky almost, the way that game was going. And it got them back in, which made us – we were talking to Kevin Kincaid about this earlier. is that something that they should incorporate a little bit more of is, hey, we have the pieces to make a zone work. You wonder why more teams don't do it, because he said you play the zone until a team figures it out. It feels like no one ever figures it out.
Right. I think also, too, because nobody figures it out because you just don't see that much in the NBA. Remember, didn't they used to call it an illegal defense? Wasn't zone an illegal defense back in the day? Wasn't that a penalty?
Yeah, you could not play zone. It was only been recent, probably like the last 5 to 7 years that you've been able to play zone.
So why would you stop doing it? Especially you've had the components that work with it the best. I mean, they have the horses to do it and the athletes to do it. And I heard you guys talking, and I knew that was the case, that, if you got a guy in college that played mostly zone and he's all excited it's like the shackles come off. It's like the governor on a golf cart. Hey, I can go as fast as I want. Woohoo! And they were so effective at it. Why not slip it in a little bit more often?
Yeah, I thought Coach Lynham said something really interesting on the postgame, and he brought up that your playbook is 99% man-to-man. So when teams do throw this at you, it's like, well, we'll just run our man-to-man plays, and that'll beat them. But because no one ever thinks it's going to happen. So I do see, the Miami Heat does it, and maybe now the Sixers work in their own kind of zone, and maybe it becomes a copycat league where you do see it more based on these results. And then it might not be as effective if teams are now more used to seeing it. Who knows?
Right. Part of the reason it worked is because nobody was expecting it and they just had no idea how to comprehend it. If you start doing it on a regular basis, teams will game plan for it. But like anything in sports, your advantage is when you have to make the opponent game plan for something that you may or may not even use. If they spend 20 minutes of an hour practice preparing for what might come out and then you don't use it, then you've already won. You've got an advantage. You're getting 20 minutes of them spending time on something that a card you didn't even have to play. No, I thought it was a great thing. And like I said, I think they have the athletes for it. So why not go back to it?
Yeah, and I know a big topic of conversation has always been Simmons, and it seems that has cooled down a little bit here. I think, Brodes is a little bit on one side, and I'm on seemingly the other. I'm okay with what Ben has given this team. But I guess the question would be, is it okay if Joel, we feel like Joel has maybe maturity-wise become ready to win? Is Ben there?
I think we see glimpses of Ben being there. I'm with you, Gill. I don't need Ben to light up the numbers as far as the points because there's so many other pieces around him, although it was nice to see a season-high 21.7 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. That's whoa, Ben, right? But I look at it like this. Joel has really taken his game to another level, and I think he's finally emerged into what could be not just the team MVP, but potential league MVP in the numbers that he puts up each night. He realizes how important he is to the Sixers and their success. Although they did win without him, they were 0-4 before that, and they're a much different team without him. And I think we're seeing the maturity of Joel Embiid. I don't look at Ben as having to be the superstar numbers, but I do look at Ben as having to be Ben, which is the guy that distributes the basketball, the guy that gets a few steals, that shuts down the other team's high scorer or gets the other guy frustrated, whoever that top scorer is. So I think Ben does a lot of things that don't necessarily jump out. People just gravitate toward how many points did somebody score. There's a whole lot more to basketball than how many points you ended up with in your total points in that column.
Pete Thompson, this is the best most I've ever agreed with you.
It's crazy, right? See what happens? 2 days of snow and I'm stuck in the house, and all of a sudden I'm reading Sixers coverage left and right, and you and I are on the same page.
Yeah, that's what happens. You start to go crazy when you get stuck inside. It's probably one big snowball effect from just being quarantined forever. We start going psycho. We start believing what Gill says. It's unbelievable. But last segment we brought up, Embiid taking this team to that next step. And let's say Embiid's ready, Ben Simmons isn't. And being ready, Joel, brings you to the Eastern Conference Finals. So you do take that step to the next round. Could you imagine the frustration? And look, I'm not giving away Ben for nothing. So I am frustrated with him, realizing what he does do so well. But I can't imagine that frustration that would happen with this fan base if you watch Embiid really develop and grow to the point where he takes you that next step. And then it's almost as if, Ben is holding this team back from taking it even further. How do you think this fan base would respond to that?
Well, now what are we talking about here? Are we talking about Ben, the reason that you lost a series? And how do you pinpoint, in what way is he the reason you lost the series? Is it because he didn't score enough? That's not necessarily
maybe I'll I'll throw it this way at you. The way that teams defend you is basically because you realize that Ben Simmons, because we've seen this over the last couple of years.
All right, I'll take that point. So you're saying there's 4/5 of a team out there. Don't worry about the 6'10" guy. He ain't going to shoot it anyway. We'll just collapse down on this guy. All right, that's a valid point, and I could see that in my mind. But I think that was something that took place a lot more with the old Sixers makeup, where you literally had like Joel, maybe a little bit of Ben, and nobody else. You know, the weapons that they're starting to put around him, that we're seeing the best that we've seen, knock on wood, of Tobias Harris. We're seeing the best that we've seen so far of some of the perimeter shooting, Seth Curry and what he can do, even in limited doses. When you get Dwight Howard in there for the energy he brings in, we're seeing a good version of the Sixers team, so much so that I actually had a thought when I saw that J.J. Redick was a possibility of coming back to the Sixers. I was like, I don't know. Don't we have it? I mean, there's only so many minutes to go around, and that's crazy. It used to be that I'd be like, oh yeah, we need a shooter. We absolutely need a guy from the outside. And now I'm like, I don't know if we really need that guy or not. And that's almost unfathomable to me to see where we are from last year to now this year.
This feels like that moment in what movie was that with Jon Favreau and
Swingers?
When he's like, you're all grown up and you're all grown up, PT. Look at you. Like, you finally have fallen out of the trap of being like, well, he played for the Sixers and I liked him. Yeah, bring him back. Like, every Philly fan always wants to bring the guy back. And you have finally said, I don't think we really need that guy here. Good for you, Peter.
Right. It's certainly not at the cost of giving up some young talent that, everybody seems to go after, right? I mean, there's a reason that when the James Harden talk came out that Maxi's name kept coming up. There's a reason Matisse Thybulle's name comes up. Guys, these are young players that, have a high ceiling and they're not even there yet. And that would be, plus you'd have to make the money work and all. I mean, come on, look, just don't let them go to Brooklyn. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think one of the big differences, and I think, by the way, what Brodes' point is valid.
Yeah, 4/5 of a team. Sure.
5 playoff time. The difference is, I think what you said, Pete, is valid too, is they were 4-on-5 because their roster was constructed in a way that almost made them 3-on-5 because Al Horford couldn't shoot from the outside, so they didn't have to worry about him. Josh Richardson was a guy you didn't have to worry about. The only two guys you really had to worry about in the half-court game was Joel Embiid and, I guess, Tobias Harris. Like, they just didn't have – so it tightened the screws to Ben. I don't think teams can do that. And if they can, God bless them. But I just don't see how teams can implore the same defensive principles with this team that they could on previous teams.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head, too, there. And you guys talked about Coach Lynham the other night. Coach Lynham always – the playoffs are a half-court game. You watch a whole season where there's a lot of full-court basketball and all that, and then once it gets down to the playoffs, it all of a sudden metamorphosizes or switches to just this intense half-court battle. And, teams have to be built for that and be ready for that. And I think the Sixers are more ready for that than ever before.
All right, PT, let's transition to a little hockey, huh?
Yeah, why not, eh?
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? I guess I'm taking control here. Let's go to the Flyers. They win 2 against the Islanders. Now, both in overtime and some hideous play throughout, as we've seen to this point. But what are your takeaways from the 2 games?
I mean, my first takeaway is exactly what you're touching on, is the fact that, I think my tweet was something along the lines of how in the heck did they win that hockey game? And you could have used that for either game. You could have used that for Saturday, and you could have used it for Sunday. I mean, both times there were long periods of time where the Flyers did not look effective, were making mistakes, let the Islanders back in it. Look, the Islanders are a really good hockey team. There's a reason they were the team that advanced, and the Flyers weren't out of that round of the playoffs last year. But the difference is you got a top Carter Hart, and then Brian Elliott played well the other night. You got good goaltending. You've got good depth along your lines, and you've got just this resilience, too. I mean, listen, a good Shane Gostisbehere, that was the other part of my tweet, too, on the game winner. I actually said out loud, good job, Ghost. I haven't said that, I think, since his rookie season when he was scoring game winners. I said out loud, good job, Ghost, and then, boom, the game-winning goal was in the back of the net. I think that was Saturday night's game, if I'm not mistaken. So, look, I'll take winning ugly is still winning. And I'll take ugly wins over L any day of the week. And, Now we're going to see more how they do against Boston because that's another elite team. And obviously tomorrow night, that's a primetime matchup. The 8 o'clock, the national audience will see if they show well. But they're still making mistakes and they're winning. I'll take it.
Yeah, the mistakes is crazy to me. I don't understand how it got this abysmal defensively. And you get Phil Myers back and things look a little bit better. And like you said, Ghost isn't playing horrendous. I just wonder with the Ghost thing, are we just accustomed to Robert Haig and Justin Braun right now being so bad that we are like brainwashed with Ghost? Like, wow, a defenseman that can make a pass.
Right. And that's what's crazy too. You miss Matt Niskanen. We all know that, right? What a steadying influence he was, right? Provorov is Provorov. He's good. He's always steady Eddie out there, and he plays so many minutes. But then really right now, and I don't know about you, Brodes, but I look at their roster and I see 1 NHL defenseman and 5. I'm in an NHL uniform trying my damnedest.
Give Sanheim a little more credit.
All right, I'll give 2 then. But Phil, because Phil Myers was out. Phil Myers is a legitimate NHL defenseman. Now you're mixing him in. So if you want to go Provorov, Sanheim, and Myers, now you've got 3. Justin Braun is a guy that when he makes turnovers, I scream at the television. Gustafson replaced Ghost as my new guy that I scream and yell at the TV. What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? And then Haig characteristically has made mistakes, in the early going here too. So they are by no means. And that's why you have a taxi squad. That's why you keep 8. That's why you saw the guy Prosser up the other night. What the hell was he doing in the lineup, right? I didn't even know who he was. Okay,
what he was doing in the lineup.
It was unbelievable. He goes from taxi squad to big league lineup to right back to taxi squad once Phil Myers was available. But I love that too because you know what it is, Gill? And when they sat Travis Konecny and everybody was like, oh my God, they're sitting TK. That is a coach that is holding his stars accountable. If you don't play the way that I want you to play, I don't care how many points you have. I don't care how good you are in the offensive end. You are awful in the defensive end, and you are going to sit. And that's why Travis Konecny sat the other night, because against the Devils, he let the forwards get too deep. He let himself get too deep and got caught, and that led to odd man rushes in the other way. And basically, AV had seen enough, so he sent a little message, put him as a healthy scratch, and then he came out like he was shot out of a cannon in the second game. So
all right,
I guess it worked.
Pete Thompson, how would you kind of describe what we're getting and seeing from one JVR?
That's what they signed up for. We're getting the JVR that they traded for. We're getting the JVR that they hoped for. We're getting the JVR who and I'm going to go to way back old time hockey names. Dino Cicerelli used to do that back for the Minnesota North Stars. Tim Kerr, there you go, Gill, did that for the Philadelphia Flyers. Guys that set up in their office that's right in front of the net. I remember one time being in the Flyers locker room and asking Mike Ritchie, who was never Richards, who was never a big eloquent talker, about like a garbage goal in front. And I brought up Dino Cicerelli's name, and his eyes went as big as saucers, and he kind of was nodding at me like, finally, there's a guy in here that understands what the heck he's talking about. You have to have traffic in front of the net. JVR is, from the pretty goals, which are like that tip goal or those deflection goals that he works on so hard in practice, to just creating the presence in front where it occupies the defenseman and the goalie's attention so that a puck can squeak by. That's the JVR that they wanted to bring back, and now he's finally here.
Yeah, I know. It's Tim Saunders, when I love that call on the radio. He gets a goal with traffic in front of the net. Saunders giving you that little, play-by-play there. All right, let's transition real quick, PT, over to the Phils, who got Didi and JT signed in the last week here. So expectations change at all? Okay, and this is a listener brought this up the other day.
All right.
And I want to get your thoughts on it because I don't want to say it's changed my thoughts, but I think it's definitely worth bringing in, which is they have the same offense, which was pretty good last year. They have the same pitching rotation, which was good, not great. Their bullpen was so bad. It can't be as bad, and they have added better pieces.
Right.
It was simply fixing the bullpen and bringing the band back together enough.
Well, I'll echo this. On the offensive side of things, I'm glad they brought back JT. I'm glad they brought back Didi. I think both those guys are good fits in the lineup, especially JT. I know he, the fan base would have gone nuts if they lost him. And of course, who's the guy for the Marlins? Sixto, right? If he blew up down there, and that's one thing. The second thing is will JT Realmuto be the same guy at 35 that he is at 30? We'll find out. But I'm okay with bringing those bats back. You hit the nail on the head, though. It's all about the bullpen. We've talked before about the velocity they're adding, and you see, I think they made another move too for this Hector Rondon, right? I mean, it's a minor league contract, but they're just trying to add arms anywhere they can. And, to me, Gill, the bullpen in baseball is like the offensive line in football. You can never have enough quality arms. You can never have enough guys that can effectively play offensive line. And last year, the Phillies kind of gambled on the fact we'll be okay with what we have. And they were dog dirt awful. So I think, to me, this year, they're trying to get as many people in there, get as many guys in there, and get a workable, serviceable, good. It doesn't have to be a Cy Young bullpen start to finish. It just has to be guys that are somewhat effective at getting people out, especially if they have a big lead going into it. I'd be okay with that, too.
Yeah, I know that bullpen is not going to be great, but it's definitely got to be an upgrade over what we saw last year. That was painful to watch. Could you imagine having to go through 162 of those?
No, I really can't. And, God bless Girardi for not jumping off the Walt Whitman or anything like that. I mean, it's brutal to sit there and see what took place last year. And I just don't think they could go through something like that again. So, like you said, they don't have to be all-stars and top to bottom, like unbelievable arms. They just have to be better than they were last year. And that's that old quote, there's nowhere to go but up.
So, Pete Thompson, we started today's show with this, and we'll ask your opinion on this. The latest mock draft that we saw at NFL.com has the Eagles selecting a tight end with the 6th pick. And, whoa, look at your reaction there.
I'm stunned.
With the 6th pick in the draft, taking Kyle Pitts, a tight end from the University of Florida. I guess you can describe to the people who didn't see the video, but you would be pretty shocked?
I mean, when's the last time they took a tight end in the draft? Was it Keith Jackson out of Oklahoma? Is that the last time they took a tight end?
In the first round. I mean, they took Goddard and Ertz. Both were in the second round.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. A tight end in the first round? Who are the 5 people that are going ahead of him that you have to – tight end is the best you can do. All the receivers are gone. The LSU kid's gone. The Alabama kid's gone. Well, tight end. I mean, listen, I don't know a lot about this Florida tight end other than the fact that he better be the next coming of Travis Kelce or the early years of Jimmy Graham. I mean, come on. You better be a tight end that really is like a receiver.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you look at the way the league has changed, and you have Dallas Goedert. That's the difference. But, I wonder if Nick Sirianni just wants to utilize something heavier with this 12 personnel set, and knowing Carson Wentz is comfortable with tight ends. Is that a statement towards him? I'm not saying that I'm sitting here rooting for it by any means, but if you're philosophy this offseason is we need a playmaker on offense, so you want to lean towards wide receiver. So I think it would only be fair to have him in the mix, just in terms of hey, if we're trying to get a playmaker, why wouldn't he at least be in the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, if he is that kind of tight end and he's a league-changing sort of tight end, I can understand maybe why that would get serious discussion. But to me, I think that you want to go with either a wide receiver at that position if you can, if those guys are available. Or
what if they think the tight end is better? That's my point. Is are you just taking a receiver just because of the position? What if they actually say this guy Pitts is better than the receiver?
Yeah, was the receiver Devontae Smith that won the Heisman, or the kid from LSU, Jamar Chase? I mean, if that's the case, then I want to grab Howie and go and shake him.
Come on, PT. You've been logical all day. I don't think Gill's going to look at that one as a logical one.
Well, the point I'm making is the Eagles' top receiver in the Wentz era has been a tight end every year.
Yeah.
It's been either Ertz or Goddard, and one year it was both of them. They were 1 and 2. So, and we heard Nick Sirianni basically say he wants to run 12 personnel. So would it help Wentz feel more comfortable and give Sirianni what he wants?
Well, and the tight end routes are not deep routes, and maybe Carson Wentz gets more accurate all of a sudden because he's got not 1 but 2 tight ends in there that he can throw the ball to, and it's impossible for linebackers to cover him. I mean, you're starting to sell me on this idea, but I don't say that I'm really excited about it. By the way, this
or he could be LJ. He could be LJ Smith.
Oh God, that's my problem. God bless you, LJ, wherever the heck you are, but that would be bad. Listen, this is all I know, guys. I finally watched Sirianni's press conference. Because remember, I missed it on Friday, and I was kind of just going off what I heard.
Wow.
Holy cow, that does not inspire me. Can we talk about the system one more time? And the system we're going to run, and the system – what the heck? You're on – oh, my God. So hopefully he gets better. He's like the Phillies bullpen. Nick Sirianni in the Phillies bullpen. Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, I think the first quote that he started out with there when he was going with the core values was like, the first part of being smart is knowing what to do. And I'm like, ooh, God, that's – I don't think that was strong.
It's like he was reading a recipe out of the cookbook or something. I mean, like, step 1, disassemble crib. Step 2, get Allen wrench. What is the Allen wrench again? Step 3, find screws. Like, dude, what are you doing? This is a national press conference, and you're the head coach of the Philadelphia freaking Eagles.
Pete Thompson, have you watched Your Honor?
Your Honor, I have not. Tell me more about it.
I was wondering, because I thought you were the one who I can't figure out who's the one who – it's Bryan Cranston who's the judge.
Oh, is it called Your Honor or Honor? I did see a couple episodes of that. He's like a judge, and his son hits somebody with his car or something like that, right? It's real dark and deep. And, I was really riveted by it. I haven't watched the whole thing. I started it, and then something got me called away.
That's the word I used yesterday, Brodes. Riveting. It's a riveting show. I'm 2 episodes in, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is unbelievable.
Now, Gill, if you like that, go back and watch Kelsey Grammer in Boss. That was also on Showtime, and it was set in Chicago, which, of course, we know there's nothing like a good Chicago politician, dead or alive, right, corrupt or not. So Kelsey Grammer, who you're used to seeing as like Frasier or the Jolly Guy, plays like a alderman or like a boss, basically, in Chicago that runs all the things behind the scenes. So if you like that theme, that kind of theme of dark and riveting, watch that one too, Boss. I recommend that too.
Thanks, Peter. All right, it's a Tuesday with Thompson. He's Pete Thompson. He'll be back for Happy Hour Friday, right before Super Bowl 55, so we'll get his pick on the Friday show. And, of course, he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. All right, Peter, see you, man.
All right, guys, have a good rest of the show. Good talking to you.
All right, and, of course, we have PT back on Friday's show. We'll do a little Happy Hour Friday with the PT there. And, of course, Brodes and I have plenty more to go on this show, including the 5 questions. That's coming up in just about 20 minutes from now. All right, so didn't sound like Pete Thompson was all that thrilled with a tight end at number 6.
No, that facial expression said it all.
I don't think many people out there would. All right, we will try to sell them on that. We got some Sixers and some Eagles we will do on the other side. It's a Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Don't forget, watch the show live on our website, 97.3ESPN.com.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tomorrow night for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos. Number 3 St. Joseph against number 7 St. Augustine in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11 Wildwood Catholic in Ocean City from the Dixie Hal Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe, St. Augustine tomorrow, Wildwood Catholic Ocean City on Friday, both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
Kendall Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard, or shop from home at KendallAutoplaza.com.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER, or visit ILoveLyleBack.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug.
Breathe out and repeat after me. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance
so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Your bird is eating my candles.
Your bird is eating my candles.
No, seriously, he's making a mess.
No, seriously.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
Are you one of the millions of Americans who experience occasional bloating, gas, or abdominal discomfort? Join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up and see how healthy your gut can feel. Align contains a quality probiotic strain developed by gastroenterologists. It adds more good bacteria to your gut to naturally help soothe your occasional digestive upsets with continued daily usage. This is the time to join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Sign up at alignprobiotics.com.
Recently, Total Wireless helped Charlie Michelle stage a virtual dance recital for her friends and family.
This event was super meaningful to them.
Because when you move to Total Wireless, you can get amazing devices on nationwide 5G. And with unlimited plans starting at $25 a month, you could save up to $1,200 a year.
Thank you, Total Wireless, for helping me pull this off.
Total Wireless. Do amazing. Compatible 5G device required. 5G network in limited areas. Month equals 30 days. Savings claim made when compared to 4-line postpaid plans of leading carriers 10-20-20. See terms and conditions at totalwireless.com.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Ooh, a fondue set. Now I need to find a coupon code.
Not anymore, Susan. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout.
Wait, instantly?
It's called shopping smart, not hard. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer for free and let it do the work for you.
Don't mind if I fondue.
That's kind of cheesy. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
My name's Barry. I live right above you. I don't host parties. I host after parties. They're like parties, only louder and nobody goes home. You can see right here, I ripped out all the carpeting because it was holding me back, my pogo stick. Man's got a pogo. Oh, I'm a prankster. I'll grease up a soda can and then when somebody grabs it, boom!
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 973ESPN.com.
All right, time to get into the headlines here on the Sports Bash. We have a little fun back and forth with this because there's so many cool stories going on right now that I know I have a few that I want to pass your way. You got some for me, so we'll go back and forth on that. And don't forget, coming up tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN, we've got Sixers, Hornets, Flyers, Boston, and St. Joe's, St. Augustine. So a little triple header for you.
Super exciting stuff. You know what else is? DraftKings and their golden ticket giveaway, which is up to $55 million in prizes up for grabs. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter the DraftKings free Super Bowl prediction challenge, where you can win a free instant prize up to $25,000. The top prize is $1 million. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code 973 when you sign up. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You want me to kick it off?
Yeah, what do you got to start things off here?
Well, I just want to throw this your way. I mean, there was big baseball news with Nolan Arenado, but it's not specifically about what does that trade mean for each team. I just want to get your thoughts. Does that even interest you? Like, when you see Nolan Arenado, that's a big name, best third baseman, defensively, unreal, playing in Colorado. Like, he gets moved to the St. Louis Cardinals. You, a baseball fan, like, does that move the needle for you? Because that's as big of a move as you can find in baseball.
That's a good point. We brought this up with somebody recently. Who got moved and who got traded? And it was.
I think it was just about the Blake Snell stuff was going on with the Padres, and then they brought in Yu Darvish as well. And what happened after that? There was something else as well that happened that was big. But look, now you're starting to get a lot of movement. But Nolan Arenado, that is a humongous baseball name.
No. It was the Lindor trade.
Oh, the Lindor went to the Mets. Yes,
right. We were talking about how big the Lindor trade was, but it just doesn't push the pile nationally because baseball is just blah right now.
Yeah, and the Cardinals, like that's in terms of passionate baseball town, like that's a big get. And obviously they're going to talk about it significantly more than we would here. But for someone like, for him, who's that good in this league, to get moved to a city that is so passionate about baseball, it is a little crazy that, there's not that much buzz about it.
Yeah, I mean, Nolan Arenado, I think, is even on another level from Lindor.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, people argue this, though. You take him out of Colorado, will he have the same power numbers? Because you can look at his splits. When you're in Colorado, it's different. But here's the counter. Because you're going from Colorado to out of Colorado, maybe you're like, just because you're flip-flopping all the time, I wonder how good you would be if you just settled into an area where that's not even in discussion and you're constantly playing where that's not in play. You know what I mean?
Oh, no question. And that happens a lot to these Colorado guys over the years. That, you had Helton, who didn't go anywhere, but he was in there for his whole career. But all of those Colorado guys throughout the years, you've always kind of wondered that. But Arenado that's a problem, too. Colorado hasn't been any good while he's been there.
Well, that's the big discussion right now. I've been dissecting a little bit into this, and the front office and unwilling to spend money. I mean, people are begging to get out of there. It's just a dumpster fire organization at the moment. So they're not. Like, you have someone like Nolan Arenado. You should not be moving him. You should be building around him. And it just seems like they're totally disconnected from what they need to be doing. So that's why they've been so bad, is like the front office is not running well at the moment. But, yeah, look, it's just a really big move. It's a huge baseball move.
It is a huge baseball move. Now, there was all 7 head coaching hires have now been made in the NFL, okay? 7 NFL teams have new coaches. So, of the 7 hired, I'm not going to ask you which one you thought was the best, but of the 7 hired, and I'm not talking about someone who wasn't hired, is there one of the 7 that you would have rather had? They gave, for instance, Urban Meyer was a B+. Robert Saleh, B+. Art Smith, B. Brandon Staley, C. Dan Campbell, C-. Nick Sirianni got a D.
Ooh.
David Culley got a D-. So the Eagles end up with Nick Sirianni. Of the guys hired, not someone not hired, of the guys hired, would you rather have Sirianni and roll with it or make it switch?
Yeah, there's 2 guys that it's like, yeah, I'd rather have those 2. Of the other ones, it's like, I don't know how much. And look, I don't know what these 2 guys that I'm bringing up are going to do in terms of how they're going to be better than Sirianni or not. We don't know. But there were 2 that popped out to me instantly, and it's Robert Saleh and then Arthur Smith. Those are the 2 I think that I would prefer over Nick Sirianni. Like, no brainer. If you're telling me I can hire them, I would probably choose those, no brainer, over him. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the right choice, but as of today, that's probably where I would lean. What say you?
Salah was higher on my list than Sirianni was. That being said, look, they weren't in play for nobody else was in play for Urban Meyer, so he's almost wasn't even on the radar at all. And I don't even know that I'm all that intrigued by Urban Meyer at the NFL level. Like, I don't know, was Urban Meyer... This is an interesting one. He won national championships, so it's a little different. But he was also at programs that were way better than Oregon. But was Urban Meyer like as sought after as a college coach as Chip Kelly was?
I think it's fine to bring that up. I think it's reasonable to maybe tie that together.
Kelly did at Oregon is almost more impressive than doing it at Ohio State and Florida. Those places you expect to have championship teams. But Oregon, to constantly be a national champion, that was not done before.
No, that's a very good point. I'll spin it around a little differently, though. I think with Urban Meyer, there are certain organizations and certain franchises that are okay with maybe taking that shot, and if it fails, it's not a big deal. And I think for a place like Jacksonville, so you go out, you get Urban Meyer, big name. If it doesn't work, so be it. You're a trash organization anyway, for the most part. So, like, does it really hurt you so much? You can take that chance more so than Urban Meyer coming to a Philadelphia, Urban Meyer going to a Pittsburgh Steelers or like a New England Patriots or, these bigger franchises. I think it's a different philosophy. So when you tie him to the Jacksonville Jags, it kind of makes sense because you need that juice. You got to somehow grab your fan base in. It's situational, I think, for Urban Meyer. I think it's fine for him to be down there.
That's one place where it makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, if the Eagles did that, if other franchises did it, I think it would raise more question marks. But here it's like, what do you have to lose? So you're bad again? Okay, we're bad. We're constantly bad. I don't know how they even made the AFC Championship with Blake Bortles. Their defense, that's your answer. But
that's how they made it.
Yeah, I guess I answered my own question here. All right, let's transition a little college hoops, hitting all the topics here. Drake is ranked top 25. And when we had Jeff Nadeau on, he brought up Michigan State. They stink. And Duke, they've been bad. Like, do you see a correlation between this year, COVID, all that, with these powerhouse teams not being who they really are and having Drake slide into a top 25?
Drake gets covered every single game, 15-0 against the spread until the other night.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, and Jeff, we do that Saturday segment together, and I learned so much about college basketball. Like Winthrop is another one who's just really, really good. Lipscomb is another school, really, really good. Drake, he's been talking about all season long, so I'm not really surprised by it. But, yeah, there's like Duke stinks this year. Michigan State stinks this year. And a lot of it is because Drake, Winthrop, Loyola Chicago can win the whole thing this year. If you've ever watched them play, they can win the whole thing this year. These schools have kids that stay for 4 years, and Duke's kids come, and they lost last night to Miami. Miami had 7 players. You're freaking Duke. You lost to Miami. That's embarrassing.
Now, I didn't do research in terms of recruits coming into Duke this year and coming into these powerhouses, but is it possible that some of these kids that were going to go to college maybe didn't because of the COVID stuff? And I don't know. I didn't look into the guys pull out or whatever the case may be because of COVID, but there's so many big programs that are just falling on their face. I'm just trying to look for the correlation.
They stink.
Yeah, but it's crazy that all of them seem to kind of stink right now. Not all of them, but a good portion.
Kentucky, you're right. Kentucky stinks. North Carolina stinks. Duke stinks. Michigan State stinks. They all stink. Why? Well, because you can't keep recruiting kids and then they leave and think that you're just constantly going to keep hitting on these guys. At some point, that is going to not work for you,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it just didn't seem to be as impactful in years past.
Well, and these other schools are getting 4-year players, and those players are better, and they're staying for 4 years. And now you're going up against those teams that have 4-year players going up against your 1-year player, and they're getting you now. Like it's all kind of coming around in a circle now where, hey, I have guys who have been here for 3-4 years. You have guys who are just right. And then in the past that used to, but it seems that that's kind of catching up to some of these schools. I don't know. I think the whole college basketball situation is a mess this year, so it could just be a 1-year thing maybe. I don't know, but the Winthrops, the Drakes, we've seen it with Butler, Gonzaga. There's no reason why Gonzaga should be the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, well, that's not a franchise, but that's a program that, it's like Villanova, where they found their groove and it's nonstop. You're always going to get those players now just because they solidified themselves as that team. But it is crazy. You're right. It's like Gonzaga should not be able to compete with these other teams. And when you talk about compete, I mean, you're talking about dominating college basketball. It's wild to think that these small programs, they just build and build and build over years to get to where they are.
I'm having so much fun watching college basketball this year, even though the basketball is not all that great. It's just I have so much more insight now talking to Jeff on these Tuesdays and Saturdays. I'll tell you that much.
Well, yeah, it adds another layer to it because there's so much about these teams and these players, and when you know more about them, it just makes the matchups more fun. And instead of, sometimes I threw on a game last night on ESPN2. I think they were 0-12. I forget who it even was, but I don't know any of these guys on this Southern North Central team, or I couldn't believe it was even on ESPN2. But yeah, I mean, when you don't know about some of these guys, when you add that layer of knowledge to these smaller teams and these smaller programs, it makes it more entertaining to watch.
Now, this last story I think you'll enjoy. Did you see the story about Zdeno Chara's stick?
I did not.
So, Ariel Ben Abraham had a box shipped to his house from China on Monday. And
okay, go ahead.
Some accessories from a clothing company. Instead, he found a bundle of jumbo-sized hockey sticks that were intended for Zdeno Chara. They were randomly delivered to a basketball fan in suburban New Jersey.
I did see that. So I thought, because he scored last night, I thought maybe there was something that happened with this stick or whatever. But I did see this when I was scrolling on Twitter. That's amazing. How does that happen? How does that happen?
I have no idea.
What would you do if that was you?
I don't know, but he tweeted out, "Hey, Capitals, why are $5,000 worth of your hockey sticks at my house? Also, what time is practice? I think FedEx messed up."
That's amazing. Can you imagine no sticks for Chara? Or maybe he hops on the ice and tries to sneak on and play. That's wild. I don't even know what I would do in that scenario. Do you just keep all the sticks? What would you do with all those sticks? Do you try and get him signage? This is one of those moments where Chara would happily go sign them for him or something.
You want your sticks back?
Yeah. No, go just send me more.
For me first. Hey, Sports Bash this hour is brought to you by Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Shop the Valentine's Day sale now at BernieRobbins.com. Yeah, guys, Valentine's Day is just 2 weeks away, and Bernie Robbins Jewelers has the Valentine's Day sale now at BernieRobbins.com. It's the Sports Bash Live. We got the 5 coming up next.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Burkott pulls up, wing jump shot of McConnell. It's good. Burkott Korkmaz gives the Sixers the lead.
The Sixers are in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins tomorrow after high school basketball.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Blatt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Matt Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Finance to the new vehicle. Get all the details at mattblattnissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Ooh, a fondue set. Now I need to find a coupon code.
Not anymore, Susan. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout.
Wait, instantly?
It's called shopping smart, not hard. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer for free and let it do the work for you.
Don't mind if I fondue.
Haha, that's kind of cheesy. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Let's face it, football fans, 2020 was kind of like... Ouch! But Unibet Sportsbook is betting 2021 is going to be a bit more like... And it starts with the big game. Sign up for $20 free today, $21 on game day, and two $250 risk-free bets. Let's do 2021 better. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in New Jersey. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Progressive Motorcycle presents
Road wisdom from the Motor. You grab life with both hands, and you
you grab your bike with both hands. Therefore, bike is life.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company.
Starting route.
Where'd you find time to
Plan the trip?
No, to find
New phones? They're from Walmart Family Mobile. Got a truly unlimited plan. Turn right.
Right turn ahead.
With no contract. This way's quicker.
Recalculating.
Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead. Almost, honey.
Are we there yet? Get a truly unlimited plan with 30 gigabyte hotspot for just $49.88 a month. Powered by T-Mobile. Walmart Family Mobile. Stay a step ahead. HD video streaming up to 720p. See terms and conditions at myfamilymobile.com. Available at Walmart.
You're ready to get back into yoga, so you ordered the essentials. A non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear. Noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath. Breathe.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
You ready for competition? It's time for 5 questions.
3 in and just man 95.
Number 5 will always love you.
5 times, not 10, you think.
All right, 5 questions. Get ready to wrap up the show on a Tuesday. And don't forget, game night's coming up next. Josh Booty will join the show. Great story. Josh Booty, 6:15. Freddie Coleman tonight at 6:40. Longtime ESPN radio host. Brodes, we got 5.
All right. Now, did you see this LeBron James story last night?
Yeah, he got to the argument with the woman in the front row.
Did you see this woman on social media, though? Or did you not dive too deep into it? Because it's pretty damn funny.
I saw the video of him like going back and forth with her. It was on SportsCenter over and over again.
Yeah, it was. If you didn't really catch like the full story of it, though, it's a little bit different. But it's just ridiculous. This woman's all over the place, and she's
So apparently he was like talking to her about the fact that he thought she was there with her father, I guess, right? So there's fans allowed in the arena in Atlanta, right? There's like 1,500, not all that many. But he was like, oh, I thought she was there with her dad.
Yeah, so basically, apparently the husband was giving him a couple howdy-a-doos.
Yeah, he was kind of ripping her, saying that he thought that she had a couple of cold ones.
Yeah, they were going back and forth, going at it.
Yeah. LeBron, though, he was like, I didn't even think it was like me saying LeBron shouldn't have got the flagrant for Embiid's game. He's like, I don't think she should have been thrown out.
I got a pitcher situation going on here in the MLB.
Okay.
Chris Archer just signed with the Rays for 1 year, $6.5 million. Would that have been a name?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. 1 year.
Archer was there. They traded him to Pittsburgh in that big deal and ripped them off.
Yeah, I think they even got Glass now, which is now pitching in the Rays. If I remember that correctly, that was who they got.
Yeah, Archer is a guy that, obviously he has not been as good as we thought he was going to be, but he's definitely a guy I want to take a shot. What did he get paid?
1 year, $6.5. Like that's something that just to help out this season. I
would have made that deal. Now, last year he was not very good, but Pittsburgh kind of stinks. And it was actually, I don't think he pitched last year. I think it was the year before.
Yeah, but considering the circumstances, you would have to imagine taking a shot on him is significantly better than rocking with Vinny V.
Although I would tell you this, Archer is another guy like a Vinny V. You'd end up being frustrated with him.
Definitely, but not definitely. I think it's possible, but I also feel it's good to take a shot on him, though.
Yeah, he didn't pitch at all last year. You know what his problem was? He had the Fultz problem, the thoracic outlet syndrome.
That is correct. Yeah, I do remember actually reading up on that.
Yep.
I would have taken a shot, though. All right. Jeff Nadeau said something interesting. He said he doesn't think the Sixers could beat Jimmy Butler and the Heat in a 7-game series. Did you think that was a little hot take-ish?
Well, he said he didn't think they could beat any of the top teams in the East right now, and he kind of holds that Ben Simmons holds them back.
The Miami Heat.
Because a lot of people have the take.
I just don't. I understand that take, but like to throw out. Like, what have the Miami Heat done for you this year? Now, they had some COVID issues.
Simmons has been hurt. I mean, Jimmy Butler has not played a lot this year.
But that's my point. Is like, what have you seen out of the Heat for you to be like, oh, there's no way the Sixers can beat them in 7?
I don't agree with them. I think they're equipped to go toe-to-toe with these teams. I don't know that they're better than them yet.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I'm like, the Heat don't scare me fully. All right, last one. When's your next cup of coffee going to be?
As soon as I get home. Every night when I get home.
I love it.
As soon as I get home, I go right to the machine, turn it on. I got to rechange the water. Right when I get home. All right, Sports Bash. That's it. We're out. We'll do tomorrow. Sarah Spink, Jason Fitz, Paul Hudrick. Moshe is in tomorrow. Zubin Mahente is in tomorrow as well. This has been the Sports Bash. If you missed any of our interviews, you want to check them out, go to our YouTube channel. Check out the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And coming up next, Josh has game night. Josh Booty and Freddie Coleman. Going to be a good show. Stick around. Have a great night, everybody.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates.